Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we speak in English. Welcome back to Presque Fameux with the leftovers. First thing first, want to thank our sponsor, La Souche.
Donc, merci beaucoup, La Souche. Aujourd'hui, on boit plusieurs bières différentes.
Indeed.
Donc, si vous voulez aller, ils ont 2 pubs excellents.
Effectivement.
Un à Limoilou
et l'autre
à Stoneham.
Exactement, Julie.
Donc, vous pouvez aller vous acheter de la bière là-bas ou sinon, vous pouvez aller manger là-bas, boire de la bière là-bas. Puis, il y a même la musique live là-bas aussi.
C'est vrai. Et à Stoneham, ils ont aussi une boutique où on peut non seulement acheter de leur bière, mais aussi de magnifiques marchandises telles que des chandails.
Comme toi en ce moment.
Comme mon beau
Tu
chandail.
représentes vraiment.
Je fais partie de l'équipe de dégustation.
Donc, aujourd'hui, l'épisode va être en anglais.
Hell yeah, baby.
Oh yes.
Because we have a special guest today, Kori Kameda.
Hey.
Cheers, mate.
What's going on?
Cheers.
Not much. Thanks for the supper.
Hey.
You're kind enough to invite us to your den
My pleasure.
to
It's always
slow
nice.
cook some sausage.
Yeah, very slow cook.
It
They
was
were
very
delicious,
good.
bro. Yeah.
So, we're happy to... we are at your place right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Downtown Levy.
Yeah, the big spot.
The big spot, the place to be.
Donc, c'est pour ça que le décor est différent.
Indeed, July. So yeah, Kori, we met. I think the first time I met you was at the St. Pat.
I think so. Yeah, checks out.
Yeah, I mean, every time I go to St. Pat, I'm kind of a little tipsy, so maybe my memory is faulting me here. But if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was the first time we saw you.
I think
But
yes.
You invited me to play a song with you,
Oh yeah.
and I fucking snapped your B string, and I
Yeah.
felt so bad.
Right.
Like this guy, he lends you his guitar to perform at his show.
Oh
And
man,
fucking
I
broke
forgot
the
about that.
You were really nice about it, though, so thank you so much, but I felt so shitty.
Yeah, man, it's all good. I mean,
It happens.
it happens. It happens. So.
You told me, they were old anyway, don't worry about it.
Yeah, man. If you weren't gonna do it, it was gonna be me or someone
Yeah,
else.
but-
Somebody else.
I would have rather have you do it. I would have felt nicer about it, I think. Better, at least.
So that was our first meeting.
Yeah, and I think I remember like yeah, like at the St. Pat's, it's not uncommon for your glass to be full and then it gets empty
Real fast.
and then it gets full again and then empty, and I think I'd done that like a couple times. and so when you guys showed up, I was like, yeah, go nuts, like yeah, woo. Like,
I'm gonna have a smoke.
yeah, no, it's fun. I love doing that, and you guys are awesome. I've seen you guys like a couple times now. Sometimes like I think the last time was Stoneham.
Yeah, de quatre foyers.
Yeah. So like
Oh,
as you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
were finishing, I
Yeah.
was coming in.
Yeah, I remember that.
And do you remember? I went to help you bring some stuff out.
Yes, you were so nice.
And we were parked right beside each other.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I remember
I do
that.
remember that. It was amazing.
So when did you start playing music? What is your story?
My story, well,
Does it start in Dryden, Ontario?
it does.
All right.
I mean, for me, it's been a long time. I think I first started playing music, what you would say like professionally, like actually like really sitting down to work on music, to play for a crowd.
Yeah.
I was in high school, and the first band that I really like, I was like, wow, like these guys are amazing, was this band in my hometown, Dryden, Ontario. They're called Pass the Pineapple.
That's kind of nice.
And these guys, they were so cool. They were all much older than me. Like the harmonica guitar player, singer in the band, his name was Peter Cortens. He was like one of my best friend's dad.
Shout out, bro.
Yeah. And in this band, there was this guy, his name was Christopher Dunn, and he's just like a smoking guitar player. And he like made a big impression on me, and eventually Chris left town, and
Okay.
Peter's like, hey, Kori, like, you can
You
come
wanna
play
fill
guitar
in?
for us? And I was like, whoa, like, big boots. To me, it was like I got invited to play with like Aerosmith. Like it was a really big deal.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, like it was like
we're really looking up like to these guys.
Yeah, like these guys, they were just so cool, so fun, and yeah. So like, and I think I was probably about maybe 16, 17 at the time. So before that, I was kind of doing things like back home we called them coffee houses. They'd be like open mics and stuff like that, and so I do that from time to time. But that was like my first entry into like basically looking at it more professionally and like, okay, you have to learn these 30 songs, and so it goes back to that.
And was it like their own music, or they were doing covers? And
it was pretty much all covers. I mean, it's like I actually have a 45 vinyl here because the drummer in the band, his name is Rick Smith, and he recorded this song probably, I don't even know how long ago now. I think it's like it could be like 30 years. I don't know. But he had this song called the Dryden Song. Okay? And it was this song about because our town, it kind of stinks because it's a pulp and paper town, right? It was a forest industry, so they were making paper in the mill.
Yeah, and it smelled like Turso.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Turso?
No.
In Quebec? It's the same thing. It's like there's this big paper company,
Yep.
and all the village is just around the mill.
Yeah.
And it's all workers there. But as soon as you're like 2 kilometers away from
You
the
can
town,
smell it.
it smells like a fucking rotting skunk.
How do you say it? Put?
A prout.
fart?
A fart.
A prout,
a
un
pet.
pet.
A pet.
And it does prout.
Yeah, it does prout though. It does prout.
But I mean, a lot of people that have been through my hometown, they're like, where are you from? I said, I'm from Dryden. And a lot of people pass through because it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's on the major
It's like on the
highway.
main road. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, Dryden, it kind of stinks. I'm like,
Okay. Yeah.
it does.
That's where I'm from.
I don't smell it anymore. I don't care.
Yeah, I bet you don't smell it when you live there.
Oh man, it comes back hard.
Oh, yeah?
when you go, it lets you know when you haven't visit home in a long time.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm back. Yeah, but that's where I'm from. That's where it started for me. And yeah, so this band we didn't play a lot of original music. There was a few members, they've maybe written a couple songs, but original music in my hometown wasn't a really big thing.
Well, I feel like in a lot of small places, it's not a really big thing. But maybe I'm mistaken though. But
Yeah, I think people like the thing that they know, usually.
especially in small town,
Yeah.
like I don't say if you go to Montreal, there's a shit ton of venues with like unknown band and there's people to go watch them. But I feel like when you're in really small town, people tend to go watch what they know and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like with music, you want to be comfortable, right? So
Yep.
you want to hear something familiar and
That you can sing along to.
you could sing along to, and it just makes you think of your friends and your family or whatever, and it's so, I mean, it was just like like playing these covers, like we were playing stuff like Rolling Stones and CCR.
Yeah, so at least it
and
was good songs.
it was good music and like, but stuff I would have never listened to on my own because this was these guys' generation.
Yeah.
But it was my exposure to it, so it would have been cool to play some original music, sure, but at the same time I got this education
Yeah.
from these guys.
Yeah.
Right. So
And how many times did you play with them?
like, I mean, compared to how much we all play now, like probably not a lot, but we would do like Christmas parties and stuff like that, and like, or some people's birthday.
That's still pretty. I mean, you were kids back then anyway. You're like 16, 17.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
That's fairly good.
Yeah, it was like, for me it was the best.
For sure.
Because I was just playing music with these guys and it was at parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And like it didn't get any better than that, because I mean, I never really left Dryden very much. We, like, the closest major cities to us was Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Okay.
And both were equally 4 hours away.
4
each
hours.
side.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like that was another another world. So to just be playing music live in front of people and have them enjoying it was like sensational. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me on the, I don't know, I used to watch a lot of That 70 shows when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's the character Hyde. At
Yeah.
some point he said, you know how to have fun in this town? Just drive 1 hour in any direction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was.
I feel like it kind of happens.
Absolutely, because I mean, in my hometown, like you would either go hunting or fishing, or play hockey. You know, Chris Progress from my hometown. Like
no way, really?
Yeah. So he was like a big deal. Like,
Holy shit! Okay,
yeah.
Does he has like a statue somewhere or a memorial or something?
There's a big picture hanging around there somewhere of old Chris there. Yeah. And you know, like, I mean, yeah. But if you weren't really into the outdoors, and you weren't really into sports, the only thing really left was like music. And you'd be so lucky to maybe have a couple friends that
who wants to play.
Maybe
play.
Yeah.
There's someone's basement that we can all jam in and stuff. And yeah, it was. I mean, I love that time of my life because everything was very new. You know, so yeah.
And after when you left home, it was to play music or for another reason?
Yeah, I mean...
Very good, Julie. Take care.
I'm good with the question.
Indeed you are. It's true.
Thank you for asking. No, I mean, like I said, like it was such a blue-collar town. I remember this one moment in high school where like I had made up my mind, like, I'm going to be a musician and that's what I'm going to do and blah, blah, blah. And I remember having a meeting with the guidance counselor, and he's like, "So Kori, like, what are you thinking about after high school?" And I said, "Well, obviously, I'm gonna be the biggest musician in the world.
Obviously,
I'm gonna go hang out with Steven Tyler and the guys from Kiss, and
I'm gonna start coke with Ozzy, bro.
What do you think I'm gonna do?" But he's like, "Okay, that's really nice, and it's good that you want to pursue." These artistic endeavors. It's not easy. So he's like, make sure that you at least get your grade 12 because then you can get into the mill or whatever. So I said, okay.
Grade 12, what's the equivalent in Quebec? It's like high school?
Yeah, so that would be like our final year of high school.
High school, okay, yeah.
Okay. And he said, at least get your grade 12 because it's a minimum requirement to get a job at the mill. So if it doesn't work...
Or pretty much anywhere for
yeah, so backup plan, Kori, right? So I said, okay, I'll consider it. So I got my grade 12. I mean, and shortly after that, the mill had actually shut down. So
so your plan B was gone.
Yeah, so I knew what the right move was. But I mean, one of my best friends growing up, his name is Bernie Walski, and he was like just such a comrade for me. We spent so much time in my parents' garage smoking cigarettes and talking about music, and we played these battle of the bands and stuff. And he's like, he's like my number one guy. Even still now, I haven't seen him forever, but I know if we get together, it's gonna
would be just like yesterday. Yeah.
But he was a couple years older than me, and he ended up going to university in Brandon, Manitoba, which is about 2 hours west of Winnipeg. Okay. And so when I graduated high school, I stayed in Dryden for a little bit more, and then I said to Bernie, I'm like, man, I'm coming out there. Like, and by this time I actually started writing some of my own music and stuff. Nice. And Bernie's like, Kori, like, you got to come out here, man. Like, there's like this university is full of musicians, and there's bars around town we can play. So it was like, wow, this is the move. So yeah, I went out to Brandon, Manitoba, and I lived with him and a couple other people, made some great friends.
And you were like, what, 18 at the time? 19?
Yeah, I think I was 18.
So you couldn't even drink in your state?
No, but in Manitoba you could.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Even more reason to go.
Come on, Manitoba!
Right, so much more in the 204.
It's 18 in Manitoba.
So much more in the 204. Fucking love it. Nice.
So you were there to play music when your friend was playing with you, or you were?
Yeah. So he was in school studying like a good boy, and I was there. I was. I think the first job I had there, like we were renting this house And at the time, I think we were renting the whole house for like $700.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like that was it, right?
So a
Like,
couple years ago.
yeah, yeah. And I like we there was the house, and then there was like a sex shop right next to the house.
Okay.
And then there was a Shoppers Drug Mart right next to that. I applied for a job at the sex shop, but I didn't get it. But so I went to the Shoppers, and I was working there. And yeah, so between, just working the day job and just, I mean, this was an entirely new world for me coming from Dryden.
Yeah, a small
Yeah,
town.
and you were still like such a kid, I guess.
Oh yeah, I was completely like this is not what I needed to be doing at the time. I should have been, a little bit more disciplined and whatever. But I mean, I did know that I wanted to go out there and play music, and that's what we did, So I was there for a good 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and we made a lot of noise in that town, and
Hell yeah.
and then I went back to Dryden for a year. And then I moved out to Southern Ontario. I was living just outside of Toronto in a little town called Whitby, Oshawa area.
Okay, yeah.
And I made a lot of great musician friends out there.
I feel like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess you know way better than me, but there's like a lot of venues for live bands in Toronto. Like there's a big scene there.
It's massive and like very overwhelming. And I mean, for me, I was so convinced that I was going to move out there, and like that was going to be
Your last big move.
oh
and
yeah, like
it's
I
gonna
thought,
go.
like, yeah, it's only going to go up from here. And and I mean, because like, we did pretty good in Brandon. We always would have these shows, and would be great turnouts and big party. In English, sometimes we say like a big fish, small pond.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
We say the same in French. Un gros poisson dans un petit étang.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds better in French.
It's just because you don't get it. It's for me, it's not that magic. But yeah, I get it.
But that was, this is a young Kori's mentality of like, oh yeah, like wait till they get a load of me. Like this city doesn't know what's coming.
At the same time,
it's a good attitude to have.
It's good to have that confidence, especially if you're gonna put yourself out there in front of people who's gonna judge you. You need that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I was definitely, Brandon was a big move for me, and then going to the Greater Toronto area was a big move for me. And I thought, I did it in Brandon, like I can do it out here. So, I mean, but I got out there, and I was just not used to that kind of population.
Yeah.
The amount of time it takes to get from one place to another. I mean, in Brandon, I was walking everywhere, hitching a ride with a friend, or whatever. And then when I was living out in these kind of outer city regions, it's like if you didn't drive, like public transit is shit. And
Nothing is walking distance, I guess.
no, I remember like one of the first times I went like gig shopping, right? So I go there with my little paper and whatever, and I'm like, I'm just gonna walk around. I walked around the first and only time. Like I searched up a bunch of different bars, Boston pizzas and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I'm going to drop myself off. I walked around for probably like 10 hours that day, and I probably hit like, 6 bars, and I was exhausted. I'm like, okay, like can't do that anymore. Eventually had to get a license, and yeah, it was something. It took me 3 times to get my license. It took me 3 different times.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd never driven before, and then all of a sudden,
okay, yeah, okay.
I'm
Bunch
driving,
of people like in a big city.
yeah. And if you're driving on the 401, that's like 6 lanes of.
Oh yeah, in Toronto. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fucking. That's terrifying the first time.
Yeah, like, and I think in my hometown, I could tell you the number of stoplights in the town. like this was a very different beast. I should have gotten that license years before, but I didn't. And yeah, so I did kind of the similar thing as when I was in Brandon. I made some friends, and I was so surprised of the scene at the time, because in my hometown and in like these rural Manitoba towns, you get a lot of like 90s 80s rock, like,
Okay.
you know, and so that was kind of our thing. Like we were really big into like the Chili Peppers and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Silverchair and blah blah blah. But when I had moved to Toronto, it was kind of the era of like Mumford and Sons, like you know, like everybody put down their electric guitar and picked up a ukulele, and I'm like, what the
Or
fuck
a
is
banjo.
this?
Never been a fan of Mumford. I'm sorry.
I don't- I don't-
I'm not
me
saying they're
neither.
not good.
Not
I
my
just
thing either.
don't like it.
But it's okay. Like music is a bunch of style for everybody, but
Yeah, they're
it's
yeah.
not. Yeah.
To each their own, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it presented a huge like challenge for me because I was like, oh, like I can't even do my thing here because it's not the thing that's going on, like not even close. So
Although it's a nice challenge, and challenging yourself tend to better
well,
yourself.
it's true because being out there, I mean, I met I met a lot of great people out there too. Some friends are still very dear friends now, and one of my favorite songwriters ever, his name is Patrick Dory. I remember going to an open mic one night, and this guy gets up and he starts singing his songs, and they're like kind of these folk tunes or whatever, and I was completely just like enamored by his songs and his voice, and then I was like, okay, you know what, maybe this is an area I can explore, and yeah, I got into a little bit more of that kind of singer-songwriter kind of thing. And it's also when I first started playing these solo chansonnier style gigs.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's something. I know we talked about it the last time I saw you at the Saint Pat, but I feel like it's kind of weird that in French we have a word for chansonnier,
Yeah.
but in English there's like literally no term for it.
Yeah, it's like
You're just a musician, I guess.
I like it because like in French it seems to be like kind of a specific title of musician.
I
Yeah.
feel like it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And then in English it's like you're just that fucking guy in the corner
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
It doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, there's not a lot, it sounds a lot more romantic as a chansonnier.
Yeah.
Like
It does.
yeah, I like that.
Not like the poor guy begging for money over there.
Yeah. I was that guy too sometimes, but
Of course. Of course.
but yeah, no, it's so. I mean, you know, before I had moved to Toronto, I had plans of like, okay, I got to find a manager and this and that, right? I ended up signing like a really bogus management contract, and I won't say names or anything because it just probably shouldn't. But I mean, it all got taken care of, but it ended up being a really bad situation for me.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get some legal help.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, read your contracts, kids.
Fuck you.
But you know, the guy's philosophy was good at the time because he said, you know, I want to get you playing as much as possible, and the visibility is going to be good. You're going to get you working. You're going to make your living off of playing music. Great, that's exactly what I want.
Sounds good so far.
So I think in that first year and a half, I don't know how many gigs I did. Like more gigs in that year and a half than I'd ever done in my life up to that point.
Okay, yeah.
Probably around 100 and something.
And it
shows.
was your own songs?
It was a mixture of both.
Okay.
So it was like I would like when I'm doing kind of these more hired gigs, I would just always try and just, you know, look at myself as just as important as the salt and pepper. Like I'm there if you need it.
Yeah. That's actually a really good analogy.
Right. So, and I always felt like that served me well because there was just no room for kind of that bigger artistic ego when you're doing that job. Like I remember one owner saying to me, he's like, well, why should I hire you? How many people can you bring? I said, well, nobody. I'm new.
That's not my job to bring people.
I hate when people ask that.
Yeah.
Like,
but I said to him, I said, I can't bring anybody. I said, and if I could bring 50 people here, I wouldn't be playing here.
Yeah.
I would charge tickets for my own show
Exactly.
and go do it over there.
There you go.
And I said, but you know, the people that are here and your regulars, I promise I won't scare them away. And he's like, not good enough. so that's how I would get my gigs and so that's when I really learned how to hustle. And I mean, you guys know, you get those strings of shows sometimes where it's like maybe you got 4 shows in a row, and that day, the last day, there's 2 gigs in one day, and it's you know, right, surviving the dream.
It's tough, and I just like, it makes me laugh sometimes when we have like some new place and they're like, you need to bring some friends and everything. And like, we play 5 nights a week. My friends are not coming to see me
5
ever.
nights.
Like first when we started, now after 4 years, they don't want to come, and it's okay. But you cannot ask somebody like bring people for chansonnier or like
you're supposed to promote the night. It's your bar, it's your place, it's your venue. Like of course we're gonna do like some like posts on Facebook and stuff like that, like
stories, and
of course. But I mean,
our job is to show up
and to play,
be aware
and
of
be
who's
good
in the room.
Exactly.
You know, because I mean, like you said, it's not our job to bring people, and if we could bring people every time, we wouldn't be playing.
We'd be rich.
Yeah, we'd be fucking rich.
We're not playing at a shitty bar, like for sure.
You know, and it's like, I mean, I've had so many experiences playing bars, and I'm sure you guys have too, and sometimes it's like, it's so magical, like, and it's like sometimes you can show up to a gig and you're like, I don't ever want to fucking do this again, like, why am I even you set up your shit and you're all pissed off, and then you play, and then something just makes it really special, and you're like, son of a bitch. I was ready to pull the plug, and now I'm like, you know.
There actually, like there's a lot of time when like I really apprehend the show tonight, like, oh, it's gonna be shit, I don't wanna,
like, oh no, 5 minutes, like, I don't want to go. And
more often than ever, like, those are really nice nights, actually, because you expect such like the worst night ever. That ends up being quite nice, actually.
Sometimes it's tough to wait when nobody's there and you play 3 hours and
for the barman.
And that's tough because like, but when like it's a bunch of people and they're singing along and everything, and like, you're okay, that's why I do that job. But sometimes the low is low.
I feel like one of the hardest parts, it's like the gap between the highs and the low. And I heard there was a study conducted around why there's a lot of artists who are really prone to depression. Because like, let's say you're a comedian or a musician or whatever, you get such a high being on the stage, getting like applauded, people singing with you and all that stuff. You're such in a high place mentally, like on a drug high. And then you go back home. And you're by yourself in your small apartment. And there's barely food in the fridge, and you're like,
what the fuck?
30 minutes ago I was the king.
It's very hard.
Such highs that you need to find a way to like cope with when like it's over, when you have a shitty gig with no one there, or like 5 people ignoring you. So I feel like it's one extreme to another.
That's why we drink a lot, I think.
We do. And we want to thank our sponsor, La Souche. Merci La Souche pour la délicieuse bière. Cheers.
I don't know if, some musician doesn't do drugs or anything, but most of them are us. We need to, like, I think sometimes it's tough with the balance of,
especially dealing with drunk people. I need to have at least a beer in my hand. I don't need to be drunk, but
it's you know what, it's like there's so much that goes into this job. We're gonna call it a job for now, because when you show up on time and you have your gear and you're prepared, and
that's half the job, right?
You know, like just even getting that done, there's so many people that can't do that. Like, that can show up on time, prepared.
Indeed.
Like, that's like most people, they show up and everything's already there for them. Like, we have to be able to go and like, oh shit, that thing's broken tonight, or I forgot this. How am I gonna make it work? Like, we're like, adversity is just in abundance. You know, whether it's from people,
everything is against you, actually.
You know, it's really like a game of like just kind of finding the best way to fall on your face.
I like that picture.
You know, like,
it's kind of like trying to swim upwards of a waterfall.
Honestly, and sometimes it's fucking beautiful and easy and breezy. They give you a hotel and whatever, like whatever. Like it. I mean, it's all over the place. So it's like, no, I've never done no 2 gigs the same. I play at the London every Tuesday, and it's never the same.
Every Tuesday, London Jack,
Yeah.
Kori Kameda.
But there's plenty of times where I show up and yeah, like, oh shit, I remember one time going to play a gig and God, I can't remember. I think it was called the Goofy Newfie. The Goofy Newfie in Fergus, Ontario. It was like
I loved everything about that sentence, bro.
this place was great. It was right by the river and it was like so obscure to try and get into. I'm like, how does anybody even come here? And I walk into the place and it's full. And I'm like, oh, great. But it's like 2.5 hours from where I lived. And
Shit, okay,
so
yeah.
I get there and I'm unloading my stuff. And I'm like, oh, shit, I forgot my mic stand.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. Okay, so I'm thinking,
fuck.
and like I see in the corner there was like a hockey stick. This is like the most Canadian fucking thing.
Like Canadian MacGyver.
There's a hockey stick in the corner, and I'm like, go to the bartender. I'm like, do you have a bucket? They're like, what? What? Who are? What? Oh, you're the musician. Yeah. There's a bucket there. Like, yeah, go away. So I take the bucket. I go outside and I get a bunch of rocks and I fill up the bucket and I stick the hockey stick in the bucket, and then I tape the mic.
Oh my god! Wow.
Bro, that's actually genius,
Dude,
move,
I
man.
got some really good like tips that night because people were like, man, what a great idea for a mic stand. Like, is that your thing? I'm like,
That's my thing. Yeah.
It should have been your thing afterwards, man. Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah. But I mean, it's like, I've had a more severe situation like that where one time I went to go to a gig. It was my first time playing this gig in Ajax, Ontario. I think it was I can't remember what it was called.
Ajax, isn't that like a cleaning product?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is one of those kind of strings of cities outside of Toronto. It's probably like in my generation it was pretty famous because Sum 41 is from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
shit.
I was like, oh, I'm going to play in the same town as Sum 41. Whatever.
That's actually kind of
But I'm
nice.
going to play like this little bar or whatever, right? But that day I was having some car troubles and I was living with my dad at the time. I was like, hey, Dad, can I take the truck? He's like, yeah, go nuts. Here's the keys, whatever. I'm like, okay. Go up, throw all my shit in the truck, drive to the gig. And I get there and I got like half an hour to spare, which is plenty for just me to set up.
Yeah.
I go to the back of the truck. I'm like, why is the tailgate open?
Oh no, man.
And I'm like, oh, I forgot to put it up. And so I'm like, I had like a Bose PA in there that I had just recently financed from Long and Quinn. It's like a $3,000
man.
system.
Oh my god.
My case with all my microphones and shit and stuff in it. And I'm like, and there's nothing in the back of this truck. And I'm like, luckily I had taken my guitar and put it in the inside of the truck. Like I took, but that would have been gone too.
at least, but still.
And I go back into the bar and I go up to the bartender. And I'm like, hey, I just
Here's the
lost
thing.
all my equipment.
What?
I can't play tonight. She's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, I guess that's not. And
I mean, at least she took it well, but
I mean, I went back home and my dad's like,
did you ever find it back? No.
well, I actually label your stuff because I had
Okay.
I had like a label on something. I think it was like a couple of pieces of equipment with my name and phone number.
Holy
And
shit,
someone
man.
actually called me up and said, hey, I found like some pieces of your.
That's the most Canadian story I ever heard. Because anywhere else in the world, that
Yeah.
shit would have been stolen, bro.
Fuck you, Kori Kameda. Rip.
Yeah, more like fuck you.
Yeah. But yeah, and I was just like, I mean, and that was just a moment of defeat,
Whoa.
you know. And so we've had those two. As much as we're paid to, you know, face adversity and push through, sometimes there's nothing you can do. So, I mean,
And there's nothing that gets you prepared for that shit. Like, for
no,
example,
you just have to go through it.
you can go to school to study music, but you cannot go to school to study being a live musician.
No.
Like, you're gonna have to, like, I don't know how to say it in English and French, like,
Suck
péter
it
la
up.
gueule. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, like, get knocked over and
Yeah.
learn to deal with it by yourself. And, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Lots of falling.
Yeah.
Lots of falling in. But when you're up, it's like, oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, you can when you know what it's like to fall, it's not so bad if,
No.
Yeah.
if you're faced with that again. It's like, oh, okay, this might not go well tonight, but it's not
But
so
now you know, so you can put your hand before your face hit the ground. But the
Exactly.
first time, it's like,
yeah, smack, yeah.
First time I remember crying in the bathroom.
Oh
The
yeah.
first-
How did
The first time is always the most hurtful.
No, I just we were not good. And
Nah,
it's-
man,
it's-
we just thanks. We just sucked. I mean, it was at Rideau Rouge. I feel like we told that story
Yeah,
a couple
but-
times, but since this one's in English, I don't mind.
we didn't have like the répertoire of a chansonnier. Like we were
We had
Amy,
like 45 songs.
yeah, like Amy Winehouse or stuff like that, you know, and we were just not in the vibe of the
It's
bar.
like a niche repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't remember all the songs, but some of them is like Billy Joel, like but like not the one like Piano Man. It was like She's Always a Woman to Me. Nobody know that songs.
Yeah.
So it was like bunch of songs that nobody knows.
And it was like a Friday night at Rideau Rouge, and I wasn't playing on an acoustic guitar. So I had my Telecaster plugged directly in the mixer. No preamp,
Yeah.
no DI, no nothing at all. It was sounding like shit. The bar was full, and after I think 2 songs, we had like 6 people.
And when I went to the bathroom, I heard the girl say like they're good, but I mean they're not at their place. They should go home. And I was like, ugh.
You were in the bathroom?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, they didn't know, but they didn't know I was there.
Oh, it's like one of those parts in the movies where
Yes.
the girl's in the,
Yeah.
in the stall
Yes.
and the other girl's like, "She's such a bitch." Like,
She
oh, no!
I cried, and after when I came back, to Sam, I'm like, I'm going home. I'm not staying. And like, he's like, no, we need to stay. And I'm like, no, I want to go home. Like that's too hard for me. So the barman came and said, okay, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna check your songs, and he gave like, and they give us I don't know 12 shots of Jameson. We finished the night. I don't remember the end of it. But I remember like I was like, they're never gonna call us again. Next day I have a text. They're like, you're gonna come back next week. I'm like, what? We have another chance. Like learn those songs and come back next week. So I was like,
it was really nice.
nice. So like,
Good for you,
Yeah.
honestly. Because you know what? Sometimes that's all it takes is for someone else to be like, listen, I know it sucks, but it doesn't really suck.
You
Like,
were
it's going
like-
to be okay.
They
was
were like,
really nice
you're
about
good. Like it just, I
just
could
don't
see
know
the
how to
talent.
do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were with Tommy.
And
I
he
don't know
was
if you know
right.
Tommy Collin.
I've seen his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very nice, and he
The
at
sweetest
one
guy
point,
ever.
yeah, he's so nice. At one point, he came on the scene and helped us. He was playing guitar, the Stompbox, just trying to like. It was so nice. Like I mean, we were getting like not booed, but
Almost.
Almost.
Like this close.
Wow.
worst night. Sometimes I have nightmares about that dream, like not dream, but about that night.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
was rough, but hey, still doing it.
Yeah, 4 years later now we're right. And when I see new people, I'm always nice to them because of
course.
I was one of them when I started, and people were so nice. Everybody was so
I feel like
friendly.
If it was been like more hostile, we probably just would have quit right
yeah,
away.
for sure.
You know what? It's an important thing to not just experience that kindness, but really appreciate it. And I feel like the only way to really appreciate it is to put it forward, right? To recognize that, like, okay, you know, like I have this situation right now where I'm helping a young man from I think he's originally from Chicoutimi, and he's recently moved here, and we just kind of became fast friends, and he was talking to me about his music and stuff like that, and throughout the past years I've gotten a little bit more involved with music producing and mixing and stuff like that, like
Hence the beautiful setup we
Yeah.
don't see actually.
There's
Very
a lot
nice.
of,
I'll take a picture before I
a lot
leave.
of toys, but I don't know how to use all this shit, but I work on it, you know. And you know, I mean, his name is Jeremy Tremblay, and
Of course, Tremblay,
Yeah.
Saguenay.
yeah, that's what he told me. He told me like this is like everybody's name out there.
It's funny because I just finished editing the next episode with Mathieu, and we're talking about some guy named Tremblay. I don't remember exactly what was the argument or whatever, and so I googled it to put like a picture in post-prod, and the number one family name in the province of Quebec is Tremblay, with 80,000 people
No
being named
shit.
Tremblay.
Oh my god.
That's hilarious.
That's a lot of Tremblay, man.
That's what he was saying, because like he said, like, yeah, it's Yeah, it's a pretty common name.
It's like
right?
our Québécois Muhammad. Everybody's named Tremblay here, you know.
Yeah, we have a few of those back home too. It's like, are we related? Like,
Maybe.
I mean, at some point, yeah,
Yeah.
but it can be, really far.
Sure.
But yeah, sorry. So
yeah, no, but Jeremy is like he's a very talented young man, and he's been working on this project called House of Leaves with a friend he made just through social media, I think during the pandemic or something like that. And so they've been writing these songs together. Yeah. And at some point Jeremy asked me, like, I got his drums in the other room. He's like, hey, I need a spot to put my drums. Do you know of any places around town? I'm like, I don't know. I said, but if you want, you can put them here. And so me and Andy were playing a bunch or whatever, and if you want to come jam on your drums when we're gone, like, go nuts. And
yeah, that's nice of you, man.
and we I mean because I know what it's like to be somewhere and not have a place to go play your shit.
Because you can just, especially drums, I mean, you just can't play anywhere you want.
No, and like
If you have an apartment,
Yeah.
you're fucking screwed, dude.
yeah, so for him, like, it's not possible at his place. So so I said, yeah, bring him here or whatever. And then him and I will sit down here and we'll have a drink and cook food just like how we're doing it tonight here. Like, this is my favorite thing to do: talk, have food, have some drinks, listen to some music. Jeremy's a huge Kiss fanatic, so I've been
really?
learning a lot about Kiss. Anyway, Jeremy and I were talking about his stuff, and he was talking about maybe wanting to do some guitars here or whatever, and I was like, okay, well, you should consider maybe doing some demos or whatever. I'm like, I think we can, like, do some decent tracking here or whatever, and yeah, we tracked like 3 demos here.
Really?
And it went really fucking good. Like, he's like, I think Jared's like 23, 24 years old or something, but he's like so like laser focused. Like, when you're young and it's like, I'm gonna like like, I don't have to worry about anything else or whatever. Like, he's like, but like super like really into what he's doing.
That's
and
nice.
And so he just banged it out. I'm like, oh fuck, man. And then came over here one day and did guitars and stuff like that. And then eventually, we got talking about, he's like, if you could maybe help me with some of these things or whatever. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, I'm in. And usually for this kind of work, I set a price, whatever. I see what the person's budget is, and it's not like I'm like $3,000 or something. It's like, because that's not gonna happen. But I mean, at the end of the day, I made an arrangement with him where I said, listen, I want you, I want you to come up with a plan, and come to me with what you need me to do. And based on that plan, I'll see how much of my time it's going to take, and we'll figure out a budget from there. And so he actually showed up here with a fucking like dossier.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
he was prepared.
There was a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Wow.
And I'm like, and we're
Okay.
sitting in here. I'm like, holy shit! I was so impressed that he took the time to
sure.
do this.
Fucking
He
impressive,
was
man.
so methodical about it. And I said at the end of it, and honestly, he wants someone else to mix the record, right? But I found him a studio here to track his drums for real.
Okay,
so
yeah.
What we've done here was just kind of preliminary demos, but we found this other room, and I'm going to assist him there. And he's paying for the usage of that room and stuff like that. And so we're talking about my time, and I said, you know what, man? I said, I'm like, unless this other mixer falls through, I said, this isn't going to take up a lot of my time. And I'm really getting off on watching you like just do your thing and like being good at it. Like, I love it, right?
That must be really inspirational.
It is,
actually,
even
yeah.
as an older guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, fuck, I've been there, man. I've been your age. I've been excited about this kind of thing before, and now I get to like relive it again through you.
Thanks.
But and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this stuff for free. I said, you are gonna help me with some renovations around the house.
Oh shit! That's...
you're gonna help me knock down a couple walls and do some stuff in the kitchen. And I said, and I want you to get your SOCAN membership, right? And I want you to at least apply for a grant. I said, you're not going to get it. No one never gets it on their first shot.
But your name's going to be the system.
But and I want you to just know that that's something for you to do. I said, if you do that, I said, I'm at your service. And I said, the only other thing I ask is that when you're an old guy like me,
you
take
care of a young
and
guy.
there's some guy that needs a hand, pay it forward. Because I said, it's the only thing that's worth doing as far as I'm concerned. Is, you know,
we need more people like you.
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I mean, for me, I really appreciate you guys coming to talk with me, and we're doing this in English. It's the first episode in English, and I get to speak, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But I know what it's like to be the new guy or the outsider.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and with Jeremy, I see a lot of myself.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I was his age, and when I was working on my own albums, because I was his age when I put out my first album,
Okay.
which was just like an atrocity. So
I mean, you say that. I bet it's not that bad.
it's like, I mean, no disrespect to the guy that recorded it and engineered it, but like I was not ready for this kind of task. Like I listened to it now. I'm like, oh, I really wish I would have redone the vocals. Maybe I shouldn't have taken ecstasy and
Probably not. Indeed.
You know, like I just look back and I'm like, okay, like I could have been a lot more mature about it, but I see him doing it. But even though I wasn't like mature enough for it, oh, you need a power? Yeah, here, go here.
Yeah, some electrical issues.
But you know, I remember being his age, and we were talking about this. You know, like when you're starting out and people give you that hand, you know, it does so much. And maybe at the time you don't even realize it, but like years later, you're like, wow, like when I was living in Brandon, I fell on really hard times, and my friend's dad like extended invitation for me to live with with him and his son. And it was like a beautiful place in Brandon, swimming pool in the backyard,
Wow.
beautiful home, and this guy didn't charge me a single penny for a couple years.
Wow.
And like there'd be times where like I would be getting behind on rent or whatever. He's like, Kori, don't worry about it. Just do what you're doing. You know, make your record or whatever it is that you're doing. And, you know, help out around here, do your dishes and stuff like that. And he's like, just don't worry about it.
Wow.
And his name was Rod Poole. He's passed now, but I'll never forget that kindness. And so it's something that I always try and exemplify to, especially younger people. For sure. You know, so. You know, it might seem like, oh, like Kori's doing such a nice thing, blah blah blah, but it's like it's only because someone did that for me
you before, yeah,
and I learned it, you know. So,
but that's a nice way to see it, because music is so it's like
sure.
very.
I'm probably gonna cough though.
Comment tu dis ça, compétition là, comme.
Competition.
Competition, okay. Yeah, so like instead of all fighting against each other, why like all helping each other? I prefer that vision than just trying to be I'm best than you. No, we're all good and we can help each other, and I think it's a nicer way to see this industry than creating enemies and being scared that your spot's gonna get stolen or you know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's supposed to be brother. It's like it's kind of like why I really dislike music contests.
Yeah,
like
we talk a lot about that too on the podcast.
Because art shouldn't be quantified. Like, I mean, of course, like technically speaking, some people like there's so many better guitarists than me, like so many, but the songs I wrote, maybe for someone it's the best thing in the world, maybe for someone it's the worst thing in the world, and then again for every music style person, whatever. It's like a weird concept for me to like try to take two songs like, yeah, this one is the best, so this one wins and you're the best. And
like how do you
How do you justify
how
that?
do you justify it? How do you judge this?
Because
right?
it's
And
personal
why
taste.
should it be like this?
Yeah.
Because his personal taste, I could love it and he could hate it, but it doesn't change the fact that this person wrote that song and
It came
Yeah.
from somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
likely touched someone else, and if it didn't touch anyone else, maybe it touched them, and that's good enough.
That's good
Yeah,
enough.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
good enough for
Yeah.
sure.
And the thing is, like, why should we make like this whole thing like a contest with a shit ton of band instead of just making like this a fucking
A
music
big-
festival
Yeah, a big show.
where a bunch of band plays and
Yeah.
people listen to them and they enjoy it. And
You know
that's
what
it.
the problem is that I think because I think it's because to be a good artist and enjoy your art and your work, you can't be thinking with judgment. You
Yeah.
have to be open to creativity and process and patient and everything. Whereas, you know, to be a good judge, I mean, like if you're a judge in a court of law, you can't be creative with your
No.
with your sentences, right?
To be as subjective
Yeah,
as possible.
You're guilty, but if we look at it this way, like
I mean, you seem like a nice guy.
yeah,
You dress better than your victim, so you know. I mean,
you know. So I think it's like, it's that's what makes our work so tumultuous sometimes, is because it's like, you know, when we should be making better business decisions, we're kind of going with our heart,
yeah.
and that's not always the, like, you know, you can think with your heart, but you eat with your mouth, you know, like you gotta really prioritize what's this and that. And I think
Yeah.
the competitive nature of what we do is natural because we're all people, but I do love a good gathering where everybody's just there to
Yeah.
jam and hang out.
Yeah,
What
and,
the
for
fuck?
sure.
Nah.
and it's like, those are really special times. I've seen it around here a couple times. Like, I mean, even when we met, it was a circumstance of like, hey, you play? Oh, yeah, we'll play. and I'm enjoying you guys. I get to take a little break.
Bold of you to take a drunk guy on the stage, bro.
No, but it was because a guy was there and he asked us if we
Oh
could
yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah.
'cause-
I think there was one dude in the crowd that was at our gig at the Murphys,
and he wanted
and he went
to
to
ask
St. Pat afterwards.
and he wanted to ask a special request, but he was so far that he couldn't come and tell us.
Okay.
But when we got there to drink just to drink a last
Little
drink,
night-
Just
Little nightcap.
one last drink.
just one, he was like, "Can you play? I'm gonna pay you some drinks if you play." And
You're like,
I was
please
feeling.
let us play your guitar.
Oh.
we gotta. This guy's gonna buy us a drink. Yeah, take it.
So and we played. It was nice because he was very nice, and poor him. When we were on the patio and Murphy's, it's like you're playing in the window, so people
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
come and see you because you're like,
Yeah.
In this little shallow little place, and
Yeah.
and it has a table just in front of you, so people cannot come and ask you stuff.
yeah.
So that's kind of
Yeah, but I
weird
mean that
setup.
worked out so great because I mean that was our introduction to
Yeah,
each other,
for
right?
sure.
So, I mean,
if it wasn't for that, I would have never broken one of your strings. I'm just saying,
but I guess it's worth a string.
it was meant to be.
absolutely, sometimes you got to break a string to you
to
know
break
make
a
a friend.
heart.
But I mean, you know, there's, and I'm sure you guys get it all the time too. There's so many people. Hey man, hey, let me play your guitar, man. Come on, come
no.
on, man. Let me.
No.
I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna get this place go. And it's like, fuck you.
First,
This
No.
this next song's called "Fuck This Guy," but you know what? There's been a few times where I'm just like, no, I got a vibe, and like I feel like I can read a vibe pretty good, and like when you asked me or so whoever asked me, I was like, yeah, like it's not like, hey man, like you should let me play your guitar.
okay. So here's
Is
one thing.
this-
Okay?
and
we
we
have
say-
a theory,
Yes.
and we want to see if you can conquer.
Okay.
The more confidence people have when they ask you if they can come on stage,
Yeah.
the shittier they are. And on the other way around, the less confident are like, oh no, it's okay, I don't bother, and their friends like, yeah, my friend is really good, you should. And it's like, oh no, it's okay. Usually those people are like fucking amazingly talented.
Yeah. Like they have just like a polite way of asking.
Because
Yeah,
they
it's
know
like, no, it's
too that
okay.
if they do make music, they know how
Yeah.
it is not fun to. And sometimes
They
what I
host your show with like,
what I don't like is sometimes it's like saying like you're not doing the job. I'm gonna do your job. Like if I go
Yeah.
to a store and I'm like I'm gonna do the cash.
Yeah.
Like
or
no,
you go to the dentist and you're like, no, buddy.
I'm gonna
You're
do
doing
it.
it wrong. Yeah.
Look,
So
I'm
it's
gonna
more
show
like
you
that.
how.
That's the thing I don't like. It's like I was somebody hired me tonight to play for you, so I'm gonna stick to my place with my equipment.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see people with their beers and you're like, it's like
Do I want to lose $1,000 guitar tonight
Yeah.
because of some drunk dude?
like some or just the microphone. Like oh fuck, sorry,
Yeah.
it fell on the
Mic
ground.
drop. Not
And
funny.
No.
I love
Shit's expensive, bro.
somebody did that to mine and just like
Yeah.
Because he thought it was the house mic.
he didn't think it was mine. I was like that was mine. It was new.
like
These people have never purchased a microphone before. You know, like.
But he was a chansonnier and he didn't think it was mine. He was feeling so
Yeah,
bad.
he
He was
felt
like,
really bad
I'm
about
gonna
it,
buy
I
you a
think.
new one. I'm like, oh no, that's okay.
Stupid move.
But why did you do that? Like
Yeah.
just a mic
Like, why
drop.
would you take the risk? You know, like.
Well, I think he was drunk a little bit.
It was like a big moment. It was a big jam. I
Yeah, it
think.
was a big jam. It was nice, and seriously, it was funny. But I was like, that was my fucking mic, man.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, it's. But you're right. Yeah, when you get these overconfident dickheads,
Yeah.
that,
You know
like,
they're gonna suck.
Yeah,
They're gonna suck.
Or like like sometimes like girls will come up and they'll give me the eyes and like, oh, can I sing with you? And I'm like, no. like no, you can't.
My wife is better than you.
But sometimes it's that they say. I remember a girl. She wanted to sing so bad, and all her friends, like the bar.
C'était le party de.
Yeah. The bar was full of it was like a university party, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're like maybe 100 girls,
At least like
yeah.
19-year-olds, drunk girls.
Yeah.
and they're
At
like,
the university party.
Fireball.
yeah, and puss, sour puss.
Oh yeah, come on.
Let's go.
And the girl is like, I don't know what I'm gonna call her, Kim. Okay, so they're like,
I would have
Kim,
called her
Kim.
bitch, so
Okay,
whatever.
so they're like screaming, they're screaming her name for her to come and do a song, and I was like, I cannot
What
say
can you
no.
do, man?
Like,
fucking
I'm a-
100 people.
That's, that's,
Okay.
It's like, oh fuck, if I don't, they'll kill me.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
And
So she
they're more than us.
Yeah.
she came on the stage and she did a song, and she was alright, but
It's okay.
okay. She was okay, but after that, she didn't want to get out of the stage. I like said another song, and I was
And all
just
her
like,
friends were cheering because like, oh, it's a like
Christ, yeah.
nobody gave a fucking crap that we were playing for an hour.
Yeah.
But the second this girl was with us, everybody was like, yeah.
and she was like, I should just look at me and say, I think I sing better than you. I was like, fuck no, man, and
man.
get out of my stage.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Like,
bitch.
get out of my
Yeah.
fucking stage. And I told her that, and she was like, calm down. I'm like, no, get out, man.
Yeah, you crossed the line.
You
sweetie.
crossed the line, and you were.
Yeah.
It was a COVID, and you were singing in my microphone. I hate that people sing in my microphone.
Oh, I'm such a.
I hate it.
I'm really. I like. Yeah, I'm really like. I don't like to share earphones with people.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the word. I think that's the worst.
I
thing.
don't like to do that. I don't like to share microphones unless I feel like it's okay. Like
Yeah,
I,
because-
it's a feeling I get. Like I'm like, I'll share my mic with that person. I'll throw the thing through the water.
You should only pass a microphone at someone you'd be willing to pass a joint.
Hey.
That's a good.
I don't
But
only
that-
say stupid things.
But you know what? You're so right. It's like, and I think it's good to give people chances and stuff. And I think, but it's like you have to do it under consideration, right? Like we are being employed. The people has hired us to do the job. They didn't hire us to find people to sing songs.
Yeah.
Like it's like they got us to do it. And so, I mean, and yeah, it's usually the the guy that's coming around swinging his dick around saying, I can do that. Like it's like,
Exactly.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
well, like there's one guy he's like, you mind if I play a song? I'm like, did you bring all of your shit? Because I did. So I mean, if you want to go get your guitar, then you can. Then yeah.
Come back and
Come
do
back.
I mean, you're absolutely right, man.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's just like just think for a second. But I mean, we're working in bars, we're working in places where people, they come there to get loose. They come there to, you know, and they feel more brave sometimes, and you can't
More
fault,
confident.
Yeah, you can't fault a person for that.
No, not
but,
at all.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, that's another part of our job is just like, this is the line. Like, don't cross the line.
Because I'm gonna call the guy on the door here, and he's gonna come and get
and
you.
he's way bigger than me.
Oh yeah, and that's a great feeling.
I love it. When I just say, and he's coming, they're like 3 guys.
Like at the Phoenix, when you play the big stage on the weekend, there's like fucking 12 security guard, like they're all fucking shaped like fucking NFL O-line, and I never felt so insecurity. Like if someone comes up to the stage, like, it takes like 3 seconds. There's 2 dude like dude, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
I love
right
it.
by the neck. Eh?
Oh yeah,
grab him by the broccoli hair.
Wow.
I walk by the Phoenix so many times. I'm like, I'm old.
Oh man, like we're not at all, and it's the place I feel the oldest.
I know, it sucks, man.
One time, a girl said to us like, "Oh, you know that song? Oh, probably not. You're too old." I was like, "Ow, ow."
I'll take another shooter, please.
Yeah. Oh my god, some people's kids, man. They just
Yeah, but
Dude, you're 21. You're like, we have 9 years different. Like fucking 45.
yeah, like relax, man.
Dude,
it sucks.
I had color TV when I was young, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The internet was kind of difficult, but with the phone.
Yeah, I remember the dial-up
Yeah.
56K. Let's hear the sound it was making back then now. Nostalgia.
But we were just coming back to, because when we stopped, you were in Toronto.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious to know what is the next.
Sure. Yeah. So
That's where you.
I'm glad you asked. No.
I'm glad you asked.
Well, Toronto was a massive step for me, because again, honestly, just like in terms of culture, I mean, the like I was living outside of Toronto for a while, right? And that was cool. Like the town was called Oshawa, and a lot of people that live back in this area, they look at Oshawa and they're like, ooh, Oshawa. Like,
Isn't there like a hockey team there? Like not the NHL, but the.
I think it was like the Oshawa Generals or something like that.
Something like
yeah.
that.
So Oshawa used to be a big like automotive.
Okay. Kind of
place.
like Canada's Detroit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it crashed like Detroit.
Like Detroit.
Yeah. And so it was kind of like some people would call it like the armpit of Ontario.
Oh.
Right. And but I really loved it because I thought it had a lot of charm, and I kind of came from a little dirt town too, and I like those kinds of places because they're affordable.
And they feels like home.
Yeah. And usually these kinds of places that are affordable, that's where a lot of the artists move to.
Yeah.
Because the rent is cheap. And so,
Makes sense.
So there was a really good scene there. I lived there for a while. And then eventually I had moved downtown Toronto, which was an even bigger beast.
Yeah.
So I lived in a few different sections of that city. But while I was living out there, I started doing a bit more like tour and session work. At one point, I was working with this woman, Meredith Shaw. She's still like one of my dearest friends. She's gone on to do like she's on like breakfast television. She's like a hostess on breakfast television, like major TV now. Totally 100% capable of this job. Meredith has always been a very type A, just like, amazing person. And for me, someone who was a little bit reckless and kind of just all over the place. Like, she was someone that had ideas, vision, steps, kind of a way of planning that I was never really used to, and I was exposed to a lot through her. And with her, I mean, I I'd been to the East Coast touring with her. I'd been to like all the way out to Vancouver. We spent some time in Los Angeles. Like just like a 10-day thing, whatever. I went to Nashville with her. Through her, I got to work with some of my heroes in the music industry. And I just, like, it was a lot. Like, I experienced a lot with her. I learned a lot more about discipline. And I mean, like, this one time we had to do a live performance on Canada AM. And this is international live TV.
Okay.
So it was the kind of thing where you show up at the studio at 3 a.m, which is usually the time that I'm just, cracking another beer.
Yeah.
But we show up 3 a.m.
Why 3 a.m?
So because it's live television, right? So you got to show up. You have your sound check at like 3:45 in the morning. Everything's in place. You find your mark on the floor. You don't move from that.
X, yeah.
The lighting. They're testing everything.
Yeah.
And then you wait for like 4 hours in the back room or whatever. So because you're supposed to play at 9 a.m, not 3, right? So all of a sudden you're just sitting there all morning, and you've been up all night because usually, as a musician, you go to sleep late, you wake up late or whatever, if you can.
At least tell me this time you didn't do some ecstasy first.
No, this time I had to be a good boy.
You learned.
but I mean, and it's like, this is one shot. Like, there's no, can we start again? Like, nope.
That's live.
This is 3, 2, 1, go. Like, so very intimidating experience, but we did it. And so,
Can we find like some videos of that or some?
Yeah. If you look, I'll send you some links or something. Okay. But
You're gonna put it in.
We're gonna look it up right now.
Oh,
shit, that was pretty good, bro.
And there's actually.
I couldn't tell you were high, man.
Well, you have to look at her music videos too, because there's like, I mean, with Meredith, it was like Meredith was her music was very bubbly, like a lot of very emotional songs and stuff like that too. A lot of stuff from the heart, but pretty girly, like and I mean, for me, like, my favorite band of all time is Tool. It's like this kind of like super heady, like, a little bit of a toxic fan base. And,
I love Tool too.
Gatekeeping fan base.
Yeah, it's like, it's very like, it's Tool or it's garbage.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I mean, I couldn't make a living thinking like that. So I saw opportunity with Meredith, and I really liked her. And
you played guitar for her?
Yeah. Okay. So I played guitar for her. Sometimes I would help out with just like, even like we would write together sometimes, or we would do rearranging of some of her music. So maybe like a little bit of like musical direction help or whatever. And I was always ready for her. If she needed me and I was available, it was no question about it. I'm there.
Okay, cool.
And we became really good friends, still good friends to this day. But yeah, so through her, I learned a lot. It kind of got me out of that pub
comfort zone.
Like, I mean, I was getting a little disillusioned with just playing Boston pizzas and no one gives a shit. Like,
I get it.
Yeah. So it was just like, it's the stuff I wanted to be doing. I wanted to get involved. I love to be a part of wherever I'm living, so if there's something going on and like it's if it's got a cause to it and it seems cool, I'm down. Yeah. And Meredith was all about that too. And she had a direction and a focus, and she'd been working with people that I admired, and I wanted to be around that too. So,
of course.
I mean, in the beginning, I saw it as opportunity to be around people that were like, really big in the industry. You got like bands like Big Sugar and like the Trues and Joel Plaskett and.
I'm gonna act like I know all of those.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff isn't necessarily popular here, but I mean, the drummer at the time for Big Sugar was Stéphane Baudin, who plays with Les Respectables.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so so Steph's a buddy.
Okay.
But so at the beginning, I'm like, oh yeah, like if I play with her, I'm gonna get to be around all this. But it actually ended up being more important to be around her, and I learned so much more.
Okay, wow.
And so in the beginning I was naive and I thought, oh, maybe I could use this as an opportunity, as a young man would think.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the end, I made like one of the most important connections ever. And
That's nice.
And then after a while, Meredith, she got more into television and stuff like that. She was doing radio and television and everything, and music became kind of a side thing. That's when I had met Andy. Yeah, who is she's my wife.
She's your wife.
My wife.
Is that your woman?
But I met her through some of my friends that were in that I'd met in Manitoba. We were all living out in Toronto now, and they had taken a program
So
to
it's a Canadian thing.
yeah
A Canadian affair.
ROC. Yeah. But
Always more in the 204.
but anyway, I ended up meeting Andy, and it was kind of a similar situation. Like at the time, Andy had just launched her album, and she needed a guitar player for like a radio tour out here in Quebec.
Oh, shit, okay.
So she was doing a release show at, I can't remember the venue. It was in Montreal. It was like kind of a theater.
Club Soda.
I don't think so. It was not Imperial. No, that's here, right?
Yeah.
Yes, in Quebec.
But it was like a good sized venue or whatever.
Okay.
And I mean, at the time, she'd done Star Academy. You got to get her on this.
For
Shit,
sure,
for
yeah.
sure, man.
Yeah,
You think you could introduce us?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. But excuse me.
I won't cut it. We're gonna hear it again.
Yeah. But by the time Andy came around, I was really prepared from my experience with Meredith, right? Because like when you're working with females, it's there is so much shit that women have to put up with in general,
Indeed.
and in this fucking business,
Mm-hmm.
it's even more so. And I've seen multiple women go through so much garbage, and it's not like none of them couldn't handle it or they couldn't stick up for themselves, but it's just like they're facing things that I'd never had to face.
No.
I'm seeing it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I've been very lucky to work with very strong women. My mother was a strong woman. Yeah. Cheers.
Go girls.
Oh, wait,
Go
Joe.
girls.
Yes,
Go girls.
No, but it's real because we had like some girls on the podcast too, and
Yeah,
we were
Rose.
talking. Yeah, not but Rose,
Yeah, but I
Liz,
was thinking about we talked a lot about the
the
like
difference,
yeah.
to be a girl and
in
a
the music
male.
industry.
It's so different, and I saw some stuff, and sometimes people always gonna talk to Sam or give the money to Sam,
Which
or
I automatically give it to Julie because she's the one.
I'm the one
dealing with
cooking.
all
I'm
her
the
stuff.
one doing I talk to you for like the months and months, and you're
It's literally written Julie Landriot at the bottom of like the 25 email we exchanged.
yes, and then
But
every
yet-
time they're gonna go see Sam. Yo, gonna give the money, and me no
And
handshake, nothing.
Usually it's like Julie is super professional. Me, I just had like half a joint in the car.
Yeah.
I'm just here to like,
Yeah.
I'm the guy who plays guitar.
Yeah.
And Julie is like the brain.
It's honestly, like,
It's really funny. I thought.
like,
It's very funny.
And us guys, we're faced with our own challenges and
Yeah,
stuff
for
too.
sure, yes.
But
It's not the same at all.
It's
yeah.
not the same.
No.
And it's just, I feel like you have to really see it. You either have to grow up with someone like a sister or a mother or an auntie or someone that
To
kind of has
understand, yeah.
that has that strong,
Yeah.
figure, and then you go, oh, okay, like that person fought to be the person that they are, and they wear it with grace, and and so, you know, Andy at the time, like, I mean, yeah, she was doing this big album thing or whatever.
Yeah, it was coming out, yeah.
And she was, and I've worked for some women that are fucking bitches. Like, they're just like, they almost like,
Yeah, it's like anything.
you know, like,
some are bitches, some are not.
you know, like, and it's, but they're just like a little self-entitled and
Yeah.
whatever. And I met a lot of guys like that too.
Indeed,
And,
yes.
but I've worked with some people where it's like, you don't have any right to be as demanding as you are right now, you know, like, and when I started working with Andy, this, like, one of the sweetest people I've ever worked for, you know.
Well, for the 20 minutes we spent with her, she was
yes.
really loved.
Oh yeah, amazing,
Really
and
nice.
and very down to earth, and like, considering all the, you know, all the successes that she's experienced, I'm like, wow, she's very humble, down to earth, and real. I'm like, yeah, I'll work with you, and yeah. So me and Andy knew each other for a couple years, and eventually, and I was working for her, and then eventually we started dating, and now we're married. We got married here in Quebec City. And
Oh,
everything, but yeah, that was, you know. So those were some big moments for me in Toronto, amongst, you know, just learning to be a person in that city, and I learned a lot in Toronto. I'll never ever live there again, ever.
Yes, seems like a very big city.
It's,
really dense.
you know, as a, you know, for a young person, there's probably no better place to be. The identity of Toronto is that there's no identity. So like, if you want authentic Ethiopian food, there's a spot.
Yeah, there's even 20 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's everything there, you know, like the like just everything. Everything's
The Eaton Center.
oh,
CN Tower.
CN Tower, yeah.
Hockey Hall of Fame. To name a few.
I mean, this is a place where it was an experience. I mean, I had powerful experiences in this city. One of my very good friends, and I consider a mentor, his name is Moja. Okay. So this guy, this is a good story. So I'm backtracking a bit. This is when I was living in Oshawa, and I went to Along and McQuaid, and I was going there to, you know, do a payment on this Bose system that I destroyed.
That fell off the truck.
I'm still paying for it, right? So I go to the store, and here's the fucking money, yeah, whatever.
Oh,
And I'm having to rent another system as I'm
yeah.
paying.
Oh, man.
But I'm in there, right? And it's kind of a calm day, and there's this kid, young black kid, dreads, and his dad standing with him, fucking long dreads, like hanging down,
Like 20
to the
years
floor.
old
Yeah.
dreads. Like, I'm talking about just the hair.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And I'm looking at, and I'm listening to the kid play, right? I'm like, fuck, man. And like a hockey jersey or whatever, right? And I'm looking at the kid, looking at him, I'm like, man, he's pretty good. I'm like, how old is he? He's like, yeah, man, he's not bad. He plays. He's gonna be pretty good if he keep it up. I said, yeah, man. I said, do you play? He goes, yes, of course I play. He said, I play in many bands. I play in Parachute Club. I play in a band called V, Truths and Rights. And I'm like, Big Sugar. I'm like,
Oh,
you're Moja. And he's like, yes, man, me man, Moja. What's up, man? And I said, my name's Kori. And so you got to understand, like, I'm a huge Big Sugar nut, right?
Yeah,
like,
well, you talked about it earlier.
yeah, like I'm like borderline lunatic fanatic, like just like nauseatingly keen. But it was part of my attention moving to Southern Ontario. It's like, I wanted to find these guys in Big Sugar, because there's a long history of different musicians from that city being in this band. And I was so curious because Big Sugar has this brilliant mixture of blues, rock, reggae, and some different island vibes or whatever. And I was always curious, like, how did they get the reggae with the blues?
Everything
like,
else, yeah.
I don't get it. But I came to discover that this guy Moja was a pretty big part of that kind of mixture of these sounds. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm just like, I met met the guy in Long McQueen. I started talking
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, I started talking with this guy. We probably talked in that store and in the parking lot for like 2.5 hours.
God damn. Okay.
And and at the end of it, I was like, man, like I would really love to learn that kind of music from someone like you.
Yeah.
And he's like, Kori, anytime, here's my number, blah blah blah.
Shit.
Wow.
He's like, you come to my house. So, when I would go visit Moja, I would show up at his place. We would eat, we would have coffee, and then we would do fucking bottle tokes of like hash. And then we would sit there for
Balto. Oh
hours.
shit. We used to call that pooks. Where we grew up.
Yeah.
It's like when you take your cigarette.
Yeah.
You press the bit and you
Yeah.
put it in the water bottle.
And
Holy shit!
I used to do that every day.
There's like almost no one I know in the world that knows what the fuck this is.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Kids have it so easy now.
Well, we have no.
They kept studying the internet and stuff.
They
No.
could just,
Man,
We
remember
had
Quebec?
to inhale cigarette before we got high. No, but that's good.
But even in Quebec, people were not smoking the ash like that. When I
Yeah,
came,
that
I remember
milk
doing
too.
it, and people were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm
That's
doing poop."
nasty.
yeah, he would do this thing where like he would like, sorry Moja, I'm giving away your secrets, but like he'd take a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
And he would put the hash on top of the cigarette,
Yeah.
and then he'd burn it, and then keep the bottle over top and hold
Yeah.
all the smoke there.
And then you open them. Yes.
Right?
I used to
We
always
used
do
to
that.
do that in high school.
Fucking
we called
killer
it
buzz.
poops.
Yeah.
Killer
You-
buzz.
That's more strong than like hard
Oh, yeah.
drugs.
My class was fascinating.
But
I used to do that before going to PE.
like
It was so
physical
much-
education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna play dodgeball. Better be high,
Yeah.
brother. Like, whatever.
But
Although the beep test high was kind of weird.
oh fuck, man.
No
Was,
shit.
was, surprisingly, I was already a smoker at the time. I was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
I was already smoking like a lot of like cigarettes and weed, and I remember like laughing at all my friends who didn't smoke and starting slowly to quit, and was like, "You got beat by a smoker, fucker."
Yeah, losers.
I was so proud of myself, and then I went to throw up in the backyard.
yeah. 1 second.
I won. No worry.
But yeah, so me and Mojo would do these bottle tokes, and he would like he like at the time I still don't know how old he was. He would never tell me. He's like, but like black don't crack.
Yeah.
Man. Like I think Mojo now. I think he's in his 70s. I don't know, but he's
he looked like 30, like 4.
yeah, man. I remember
Probably.
at one point he like busted his kneecap, like something pretty major for an older gentleman to go through, and he bounced right back. Like it was like nothing. But we would sit there in his house, and yeah, we talk a lot of different philosophy, a lot of spiritual talk, because he's from like Trinidad, Tobago, right?
Oh shit!
So
Okay.
he'd be telling me these stories, and he'd have these songs go with him, because he's like, if I'm going to teach you these songs, I want to tell you the stories too, right?
That's so nice. Wow.
And we're sitting there one day, and there's fucking little white boy Kori from middle of nowhere.
Aren't you like part Japanese?
I'm a little Japanese, but I've
Like
got
1/8?
I've got like, but that even removes me even further from this kind of music, so we're sitting there one day, and we're playing, and we're high, we're jamming, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, and Mocha's looking at me. He goes, Kori, stop, and I'm like, he goes, Kori, if you're gonna come to my house and play reggae, you're gonna have to do it right, or I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
What a fucking legend, bro! Nice.
This guy, man, and I could not help but I would laugh, and we would fucking laugh and play music.
How can you be mad at that statement, bro?
Oh God, man, So to put it, long story short, my experience in Toronto was very rich. I wasn't rich, but my experience of the people I met and the mentors and the
Was it
teachers and
enriching.
it was very, fundamental to. And you know what? Now that I think about it, you know, when I say that, like, you know, I like to have people here to my home to have some food and listen to some music. Like, I think I really got that from people like Moja, because
Probably, actually,
that was like I just realizing this now, like those were so special.
Yeah, it's left an impression on
For
me.
sure.
Yeah, and kind of the ideology of, you know, making it easier for someone else, you know, like you know, passing on you know, like giving the mic to someone that can actually sing,
Yeah.
and giving them a spot or a chance to do it. Like it's guys like that.
Yeah.
That, so, you know, it's, and I think a lot of that really prepared me for coming here, because, you know, fast forward through that time in Toronto, I mean, I was working at this barber shop. It's called Rod Gun and Barbers. In
Shout out.
Shout out. And this was fucking cool. I went in there one day to get a haircut, and I'm looking, and they have a bar in the
Really?
barber shop, right? So I'm like, oh shit! And
They put the bar in barber.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Fucking,
I'm not even proud of it. Kind of
it's
a shame.
good. It's a
Okay,
good
thanks.
7.5.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take it. I would have took a 6. I would've but yeah, okay, so yeah,
So
they had a bar.
I go to this place, and honestly, for a Northern Ontario boy who grew up around a lot of hunters and fishermen and stuff like that, I walk into this place, and it was like walking into my uncle's garage, because the owner, Jeffrey James. I
fucking love that name.
Oh fuck, this guy is a beauty. So he had this shop decorated like it was like a camping lodge. So there's like a moose head on the wall that his
shit,
grandfather
okay.
had shot, and there's like a deer head over there, a pheasant, couple bows and arrows. Like, you think this room is like colorful, like you, like when you walk in this barber shop, you look around for days and you'll find something
Okay.
new, right? So
Because I could do that here.
yeah, but
I'm-
like this place is something else. And I walk in there, I'm like, holy shit, like this is fucking, I can get a beer and get a haircut. They're like, yeah, like, do you want like a,
Sounds
like,
great, actually.
like what do you want, man? I'm like, fucking like double tequila on the rocks. So
And then whatever you want to do in my hair.
yeah, dude. So we're sitting there and getting the haircut. I feel rich, you know, like
Living large,
Yeah.
baby.
I'm like, this is great. And the barber at the time, his name Sean Stoneham, he was cutting my hair, and he's like, yeah, he's like, on the weekends here we actually have live music. We push all the chairs to the side, and we keep the bar open, and we have live music. And I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, well, listen, I'm a musician. I live in the neighborhood. Like, I would love to come play here. And then one of the other barbers, JP, good friend of mine, shout out JP.
Shout out, bro.
He goes and he grabs a guitar off the wall. And he goes, play something. So
That's your audition.
yeah. So I'm like, and I just gotten a haircut. I'm like half buzzed from the tequila. I feel like yeah, no problem. Like, so I play a little tune. I feel good. I look good. I sing this. I sang a Big Sugar song. And then, yeah, people that are sitting in their chairs getting their haircuts, they're like, oh, nice, man. Good job. Whatever. And they're like, play another one. I'm like, you'll have to come to the show. When's the show?
Ooh.
Right? So, and they're like, yeah, okay, fuck, we'll talk or whatever.
They call you the negotiator.
Yeah. Yeah. But I got the job, and this, you guys are going to appreciate this. So I talked to Jeff James, the owner. He's like, okay. He's like, do you have your smart serve? I'm like, and it's your license to sell alcohol, to serve.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, no. And he goes, okay, well, you're going to need it. He's like, because what I like to do is, he says, I hire 2 musicians with a guaranteed pay, which is unheard of in the city, you know. He's like, I hire 2 musicians, one singing, the other one's running the bar, and you take turns all night. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the
fuck is that?
I'm like, you put musicians in charge of your bar?
That's batshit crazy, bro.
Isn't that crazy? So
That's dangerous.
It-
That's like
and I said
slightly
to him,
suicidal.
I'm like, you're okay with that? And like having musicians run your bar? He's like, yeah. Why, are you gonna fuck me over? And I said, no. And he goes, well, then why should I worry?
I guess he has a fair
Wow.
point.
You know? But it's like, I'm just like, holy shit. And so this was an unheard of gig for me. And I'm
Dude,
like,
I never
you know
heard
what?
of such a thing.
I'm in. Let's do it. So
Of course, dude. It sounds
we would have magical fucking nights. And I ended
Wow.
up working at that barber shop, like kind of helping with different things around there and helping with the bookings and everything. And yeah, man, that was so great.
That's fucking amazing. I never heard such a fucking like.
If you guys ever go to Toronto, you let me know and I will hook you up with that.
Dude,
joint.
well, I think we're gonna plan a trip in
must.
Toronto just so you can hook us up.
Yeah. Fuck the CN Tower, piss on the Hockey Hall of Fame, and then go to Rod Gun and Barbers and have a good time.
I read a piss on the Eaton Center.
Yeah, you could piss there too.
I feel like I want
From
to
the
piss
CN
everywhere.
Tower.
Oh, from that would be epic. That would be some good Patreon content.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go pee pee.
All right, so Rod Gun Barbers has spent, the last, 4 years of Toronto working there, and the thing about Toronto is that you got to kind of find your neighborhood, because, I had really good friends that just lived just on the other side of town, like maybe a 15-minute, 20-minute subway ride away, and I wouldn't see these people for a year.
Oh my god.
Right? Because once you kind of find your neighborhood, you just kind of stick around
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? Everybody that tells me oh, Toronto's garbage, blah blah blah, whatever, it's like, no, you just don't. You haven't found your spot.
Yeah.
And it took me years to find my spot. So I ended up in this area called the Junction, which is Dundas and Keele. It's the west side of the city. That's where the barbershop was. I also made this really good friend of mine. I was just talking to him today. His name is Mark Weston, and he owns a building in Toronto called Annette Studios. So at one point, I moved into this neighborhood, and me and my ex were living there with my brother and another roommate, and we were getting all of our stuff put away, and I'm looking out the window across the street, and there's this building there, and it has kind of yoga signs on the windows or whatever. Okay. But it's 1 a.m, and I'm looking out, and I see all these kind of younger folks with trumpet horns and guitar cases, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on at the yoga studio at 1 a.m, right? So I'm like, oh fuck, that looks cool. So whatever. Met my neighbor, and he was a drummer or whatever. I said, oh, where do you play or whatever? And he's like, oh, I do this, I teach. He's like, I actually teach across the street. I'm like, at the yoga place? He goes, yeah. He's like, the main floor is it's rented out to a yoga instructor, but the guy that owns it, he lives upstairs, and he actually has a studio and event space and kind of a speakeasy bar in the basement.
Shit. What?
And I'm like, really? So I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, look it up on Facebook, Annette Studios. So I find this page or whatever, and a message. I'm like, hey, my name is Kori. I just moved in across the street. I heard you got a studio. I would love to come check it out and whatever. He responds. He's like, okay, yeah, come back. Come tomorrow around noon. And so I go there, and this guy opens the door. He's got a big gash on his fucking head. Yeah, I guess he had slipped and fell the day before or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, who's this guy? He's like, yeah, come on in. Come. Go downstairs and open the door, and it's this basement, right? Bar, little stage area, recording rooms.
Shit.
And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, you own this building? He's like, yeah, I bought the building. He's like, I live upstairs. I have a couple tenants upstairs, and he's like, but I have these monthly shows here, jazz band and stuff like that. From
Shit,
the
that's
university jazz kids go there and have jazz nights and stuff. And I'm like, fuck, this is really cool. And got really involved with that place. It used to be a funeral home. At one point, it was like a comedy club where like Jim Carrey, Mike Myers probably maybe stop by once in a while. I don't know. A lot of history in this place.
And that place was right across the street from
right across
your
the
place.
street. Very serendipitous. And Mark is one of my dearest friends to this day. And actually, like, I had one of my birthdays there, and Mark insisted on cooking for the party, and like he's cooking for like 40 people, right?
Okay.
So it's like you got like the trays and everything. He's
Yeah.
like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I want fried chicken, I want some salad, a couple veggies, and he's like, what do you want for dessert? I said, deep fried coconut carrot cake.
What?
So he managed to make this recipe where he would have like the carrot cake batter, deep fry it, and it was kind of like this,
Shit.
and you drizzle the sauce or
Sounds
whatever.
amazing.
Wow.
Unreal. That night, actually, me and Andy had our first kiss that
Oh.
that night in that place. So it was an important place for us. Yeah, so in this neighborhood, a lot of, very
Core memories.
And then eventually the pandemic hit, right? That thing, remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So me and Andy, we were actually supposed to go to New York for our wedding anniversary, March 31st, 2020.
Okay. Like 2 weeks before everything shut
Yeah.
down on the planet,
Yeah.
So
something like that.
I
Yeah?
remember exactly when it all shut down, because I used to run this Tuesday residency at a bar across from the barber shop. It's a place called the Alpine, and I would have a little trio there every Tuesday, and we were going to play St. Patrick's Day that year, which would have been like March 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, something like that.
And yeah, then like, so all the stuff about COVID was getting talked about or whatever. And
Yeah.
then like the day before the gig, like the owner's like, yeah, I think we're still going to do the gig or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. Like everybody else is shutting down.
It
And
seems like it's a big issue.
I'm like, I don't think we should do it, because like, even if we do it and it's okay, like we're going to look like real fucking assholes.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, yeah, we'll pull the plug. So anyway, we didn't end up going to New York, and we're sitting in Toronto, and all of a sudden we don't have a job. There's no sign of that coming back.
Yeah.
And when you're not working in Toronto, like it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know about the CERB, what was going to happen or
Yeah.
anything. So we're like, okay, we got to get the fuck out of here. So we were going to come to here, but there was some like curfew rules and stuff that I wasn't vibing with, and ended up going back to Northern Ontario to live with my grandma. This was a very magical time because I got to spend a lot of quality time with my grandma. We lived there for like a year, and I was accumulating more recording equipment. This desk actually is from her basement.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
so-
gonna take a little video with my phone. I'm gonna insert it like so we can see
Yeah.
everything that's
Yeah,
in
take,
there.
like a panoramic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Of course I will.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, that was a really special time. Like, my grandma lived on the lake. She was still like cool enough to like she would drive the boat, right?
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, like, and we would go fishing.
She was still in charge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we would go out, we'd catch all our fish in like an hour, bring back our limit, go back to the house. She'd teach us how to clean fish and whatever.
Oh,
We have
man.
all these guts in a bucket. The next morning, we'd go throw the guts on the lawn, and you'd have like 13 bald eagles show up, and like,
What?
it was amazing.
Wow.
So we're living up there, and we're kind of thinking like, what do we do? What do we do? But what we discovered is that, it was really important to be close to one of our families, because in Toronto,
Yeah, fair enough.
we didn't have any family there.
Mm.
My dad lived outside of the city, but I mean, we weren't really living a family fulfilled kind of life,
Yeah.
aside from our neighborhood family,
Yeah.
which was great, but
It's not the same.
it's not the same. And so the opportunity came to buy this place here.
In Quebec.
Yeah, Charny gang.
Charny gang. La gang des cornichons.
Gang de cornichons. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we and it was always kind of a long-term plan to maybe come out here. At first we thought maybe Montreal or something or whatever, but we're like, oh no, like let's be close to family, and all the like Andy's parents are like a 10-minute drive this way.
Oh, that's
like,
nice.
Yeah, so
okay.
so we're like, okay, yeah, that's
How is it to be like 100% English speaker and live in a place with barely no English speakers around you?
Yeah.
Because I know you speak a little French, but
Yeah, I mean, like every now and then I can kind of ramble something off, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how did I do that? But I mean,
alcohol.
it's coming. Yeah, it's coming more and more. And as time goes on, and you know, the day that me and Andy have kids, I'm sure like I'm gonna be learning the same words the kids are gonna be
yeah,
learning.
probably.
So,
Yeah.
You can learn with them. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm in no rush, right?
No.
I'm in no rush, and I'm really fortunate because I've met people like yourselves, and
But how hard is it? Because I feel like we grew up in Gatineau, so it's like it's easy if you speak only English. Like people are gonna understand you anyway, or
yeah,
whatever. Montreal is the same thing. If you speak in English, you can easily live.
Yeah,
a life.
sometimes in Montreal, you like they speak to you in English,
Yeah.
like when you go in a store before in French.
hello,
so-
bonjour,
Yeah,
or
or like
bonjour, hello.
hey.
Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
But here is very
in
different.
Quebec City,
yeah.
yeah, people
Yeah.
don't speak much English. So let's say you want to, I don't know, like when you go to the grocery store or buying some stuff somewhere, like, is it like a hurdle or something?
I mean, you know, I never could have anticipated how hard it would be. Like I thought, like moving out here, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get the hang of it or whatever. I'll go take some lessons.
Is French fucking hard to
fucking
learn? Man.
hard.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard, and it's
Even
really-
from French speakers, it's hard to do. Yeah, for real.
Some of them cannot even write.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, and you know what? It's really hard to learn something if you're not enjoying it or having fun with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
it's like
yeah, yeah.
if like it's like someone asks like you got to play at someone's wedding and they're like, I really want you to play this song, and you're like, I fucking hate that song. Like
I'm not gonna say, but like we're doing the wedding of my sister on the next
Next
weekend,
week, yeah.
Oh.
and like the first dance is fucking.
Is a song that we go,
yeah,
Like we didn't learn it, and we need to learn it like this weekend. But I'm like, just hearing it is like,
yeah. So
but it's her sister's wedding,
so-
so
Yeah.
of course we're gonna do
we're
it.
playing for free.
Yeah.
And no, I love you, Roxanne.
Ouais, ben moi, t'es pas ma soeur. Fait, non, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas vrai.
But she's like, oh, she gotta pay the gas and like the food and the drinks and so.
oh, and you're gonna have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
just
wedding,
this-
it's a party.
But all the rest of the song that she chooses is very nice. Just
Yeah.
this one, it's
well,
like a
she
country.
choose from our repertoire, though.
But
Yeah.
But how hard is it to learn that song? Because it's like, oh, what's the verse again? Like it's you just don't soak it in as opposed to if it's something you really like, you're like, oh yeah, like I know this.
But
Like,
it's very
Yeah.
country.
I feel like the song we need to learn is easier than learning French.
Yeah.
I'm just
but
saying.
I just say the process of
But yeah,
digesting something.
Yeah.
I get it. I get
It's
it.
like,
yeah.
and when you're under stress or under duress, like it's very difficult. So, I mean, I was under the impression that I needed to learn this right now, right away, or I'm not going to be good enough, and I'm not going to be accepted here, and this and that. And I was already facing a little bit of like people. Most commonly, they say to me like, "Why do you live here?" I'm like, "It's none of
Oh,
your fucking business."
Why do you?
Yeah, they're like, you live here, you don't speak French, and I'm like no, dumb, I'm working on it. Like I'm like, and by the way, I wasn't even talking to you. You came from across the room to ask me like
And then again, like, do you speak something else besides French? No?
I mean, most of the time,
At least I'm learning a second language.
yeah, it's like I'm busy. I gotta play Wonderwall, like. But I mean, you know what? Luckily, I mean, the world is full of more good people than bad people. There might be people that are.
I'm not sure if I agree with that statement, but I'm gonna let you continue.
You know, those are the ones I try to pay attention to. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
better. That's better.
But, you know, like when we moved here, there was no music happening, no live music or anything.
It was COVID. Still,
Yeah, it was still kind of like I think this was 2021 that we moved here.
Okay, yeah. So,
So like almost to the day, and so I tried to find like a warehouse job for Simon's, and they wouldn't hire me because I couldn't speak French. I'm like, what the fuck? Like
is
I can
kinda
clean the
weird.
toilets in French. I can scrub the windows in French. Like you know?
even if I scrub the toilet in English, what the fuck
Yeah.
does it matter? It's like-
You know, like so.
wow.
I had a really hard time, so I was getting, and I don't like to feel like I'm wasting people's time or that I'm incapable or I'm not good enough, right? So I was feeling very like a lot of weight on my shoulders, and it was really tough. But at some point, you know, like I remember putting out this thing on Facebook, and I kind of put it out because like I don't like to put things out that are too personal or whatever. But I was having a really bad day, and I just put out this thing. It was like a text that I took a screenshot of, and it was just like I said, Quebec, like I'm sorry, but like I know I'll never be one of you, but I don't know how, and I'm not sure what to do. Something to that effect,
okay.
right? And it was just it was a very like defeated and like right, and like, and I had a lot of friends like, are you okay?
Okay, bro.
Yeah, like, dude, what the fuck?
You want to come have a drink and talk?
Yeah, but at this point, like Andy and some of her friends, they saw this, and like, oh, like, you know what, Kori, like. I know a friend, and I think they would be willing to hire you. They need workers, whatever, blah, blah.
So
I had a lot of job
So they're
offers.
still good people.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
reassuring.
And this one guy, his name was Mathieu Bouchard, who I think was a musician here for a while, too. I can't remember the name of his band. But he started this company building furniture called L'Usine. So,
Oh yes, ok.
Do you know this place?
Ouais, c'est sur projet local.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oui, oui,
So
okay.
they have one store by the Clap Cinema.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
have one like close to our where we rent a place to play music.
Okay, yeah, and the one by Lady Marianne.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, okay.
You know where the
oui.
Arsenal Brewery is?
Yeah.
So L'Usine is right beside it. That's
Okay,
where the
c'est ça,
warehouse
c'est
is.
ça.
But before you used to have like close to Saint Joseph, no?
They
Like
might,
downtown.
They might have a store there too.
But maybe it closed. But I remember seeing that. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I think you're right. I know they had a couple locations, but I was working in the débitage.
Le débitage.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think it's a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I was working there for a year, building tables and
Oh yeah.
and all this, and
Kind of like Jesus.
Wow.
He was a carpenter. Hey.
yeah.
Know your Bible, guys. What the fuck?
I thought he was just like
I'm
saying
the only good Christian here? Is that what
He
you're
was
telling
French
me?
too.
You're
He
the-
was French. Jesus used to say tabarnak.
Indeed.
I hope so.
Mais c'est sûr, c'est un mot de l'église. It's a
Of the Jew. Je pense pas que ça dit tabarnak. En tout cas,
Non, mais tu sais que tabarnak, c'est un truc de l'église.
oui.
Call.
So.
Calisse. All the swear word in Québécois is from the church.
Yes.
Yeah, it's church
I
words.
know. I love that.
Which is, I feel like we're one of the only
I think we're
culture that use.
Yeah. Probably maybe Italians. Maybe.
Oh, bro, yeah,
Maybe.
that would make so much sense.
But,
I'm not sure.
But I don't know. Like, but it's little sidetrack. It is funny because like I have these nephews, right, that are young, right, and English swear words are not a problem in the household. So they'll be like, "Oh fuck!" It's like a little 9-year-old. And I'm like, "That's awesome." But yeah, if they say
Doesn't
like,
count. It's not tabarnak.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was working for this place for about a year, and it was tough, man. Like, it was like 40 hours a week, like, and like I'm not 20 years old anymore. I can't like lift this shit all
Yeah,
the time.
it must have been like pretty physical work.
It was pretty physical
Yeah.
and very repetitive and a very loud place and whatever. I mean, I was just listening to podcasts all day, every day. But I made some really good friends there. Like one of my best buddies, his name is Charles Julien Boulet.
Charles Julien, what?
Boulet.
Boulet.
And like at the time we were all wearing masks or whatever, right?
Okay.
And I remember like talking with him and like the first day of this job, he's like, "So you ever do much with woodworking?" I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna show you how to do this." He's doing the singing. He's like, and if it's not working, you just hit it and say tabarnak, call Lisa. And I was like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, oh, okay, whatever, right? And so, and then, you know, the only times we would take our masks off were in the lunch break room, and we're sitting upstairs. He takes off his mask, and this fucking guy, he's just like the skinny little guy, right? And he's got this fucking mustache, like just
Oh shit! Okay,
like
a 1700s Frenchman
yeah,
king
like,
or
you know,
something.
the strong man?
Yeah, okay,
dude,
yeah.
and I'm like, holy fuck! I'm like, that's been under there this whole
That's
time.
one classy mustache.
Yeah. So anyway, him and I hit it off really well, and he's doing comedy and everything now, and whatever, and that was kind of the start. Like I was like, okay, like I can make some friends, and everything's gonna be okay, and then music finally came back, and
Yeah, that must have helped a lot.
Yeah.
it's exactly what I needed, because I even know now that, like, if I don't play for a week, like I get all bitchy and like
I totally
you
understand.
know, like I'm just pissed off. I'm like
Fuck
oh,
off.
yeah, fuck, like you know,
Like 14-year-old again. Like,
yeah,
you don't understand. You don't get me.
yeah,
Fuck off.
yeah, fuck this.
Let me do my thing.
Everything sucks. And then it's like, and then Auntie's like, cool your tits, and like calm down, like, and I'll come down
tits.
here and I'll
You're gonna play.
smoke a joint, play some guitar. I'm like, oh, yeah,
That's the way.
yeah.
I feel better.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So
I'm curious, when you do gigs like in Quebec, like do you interact with the crowd in English 100% of the time, or you have like some key phrase or something?
well, I mean, honestly, for me, I've never really been too much of a talker.
Okay, so you don't speak much between songs.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in general, even in the past, like, I mean, it might get to a point where I've had a couple tequilas and I'm like, hey, but, like,
God, he's a devil man.
but most of the time, I kind of I prefer to go up there, and I usually play the same 3 or 4 songs at the start every time, because
Okay,
it
yeah,
lets me know where I'm at and
Gauge
everything.
your
Yeah,
mixer
and I can
everything.
kind of, and those first 3 or 4 songs are pretty diverse, and whichever the room kind of responds to, I'm like, okay, this is the direction I
That's
go.
your line, yeah.
If they don't respond to any of them, I'm like, okay, it's Tuesday. Like,
Let's do some more tequila shots.
yeah, exactly. but I will always say thank you in French. Like, if people are responsive,
Merci.
and, you know, merci, merci.
You're pretty good at merci.
Yeah, you know, I'll play a song. Like, oh, merci, un petit passe pour moi.
That's good enough, bro.
Je cherchais une chartreuse.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But you know, so I think sometimes my banter can be a little charming because it's so.
I think it is actually.
It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so, like, it's almost childish, right? But and people think the effort is cute, and
It is actually. Yeah.
You know?
There's something charming about it.
yeah. I mean, and it goes a really long way to try. Like, I really do try to the things I really make an important effort to do is politeness in French, you know. So merci, salut, ça va, you know. Like, if I'm at the grocery, you asked about the grocery store, like, my only interaction is like, tu en forme? Like,
Hey, it's a good one.
yeah, like, oui, yeah. I'm like, wait.
And when you're in doubt, just smile and nod.
Yeah.
Oui.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oui.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get away with it because I think, you know, one of my observations is that, like, I mean, a lot of the music that I grew up playing is a lot of stuff that wasn't really heard here. Like, I mentioned some bands before, and you're like, I don't know who any of those bands are.
At all.
Those are massive Canadian bands.
Really?
But-
Never heard of it.
But, you know, and like, but those aren't like I sometimes I call those songs, like, you know, they're kind of like you keep those in your back pocket. Like, it's like, okay, I know this one's gonna
Okay,
hit.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here. So I have to be careful with my selections and stuff, read the room and everything. And I kind of I consider it more important to create this vibe that is accommodating to the current atmosphere
Yeah.
of the place. So if the place is rowdy, I'm gonna play rowdy music. They might not know what it is, but it's gonna be rowdy.
It's gonna pick. Yeah.
It'll work.
It's something we talked about a lot on the podcast. I mean, usually, like the ability to read your room as a musician is a skill on its own.
Absolutely.
Like you could be the best guitarist, the best singer out there.
Yeah.
If you're not able to read the room correctly,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna fucking blow your show.
But like you said first, like you always do like, the first songs very different.
Yeah.
You see, okay,
Yeah.
that react. Oh, I'm gonna go this way for
Yeah.
that show.
But that's
Exactly.
that's something that no one's gonna tell you. You have to
No.
figure out on your own.
Yeah,
Like,
and it comes from a service oriented mind, right? It's because it's like the last thing I want to do is be the loudest thing in the room that is also the most annoying.
Yeah, you don't want to be
Yeah, it
annoying.
would be-
That's why I like to the special requests, because when people come and ask them, you know, okay, I'm gonna play that song, they're gonna like that, so I'm gonna go in that direction. You know.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, it's what we're paid to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, like it's like, you know, anybody can play music and anybody can work hard enough at it to do a good job
If you
and
spend enough
satisfy
time.
themselves. I mean, it's like I can think of a lot of ways to satisfy myself, but but
at least one.
but it's more important for us and the people that we're working for, because if you, I mean, all of a sudden if you clear the room, not only have you pissed off those people, the staff that's working, they're like, oh,
Oh, yes.
this fucking guy.
This fuckers, you're
The
not
staff
coming
needs
back.
to like you, because they're gonna say to the boss like,
Yeah, or
it
the
was not
booker.
good tonight, or it was good, or
You know what's
so-
something I always say? It's something I've been doing for a few years now. And there's a couple other musicians here that notice it, and like Martin, he started using this one too. But it goes such a long way. Is that like if you like the staff that you're working with, you get along with them and everything, and if the room is good and you got them, like you say, you know, you finish your song or whatever, and they're like, blah, 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 and like, okay, like while I have your attention, like let's give it up for the best band in the world here, the staff at the pub St. Pat's, right? Like best band in the world, and
Indeed.
like, and they love that because it's like I remember one time, like one of my buddies at the St. Pat's, he's like, because I rarely ever introduce myself either.
Really?
Yes, because I'm like, if anybody cares, they can come and ask me my name.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I would do the same if I was like, if there was a singer and like he didn't say his name, I'd be like, and I really liked it, I'd be like, dude, what's your name? Like,
Of course,
you know?
yeah.
Like, so I look at it that way. I'm not be like, hi, you're lucky because I'm here. Like, I don't know, like I just. It, and I
Yeah, I
should
get it.
maybe it's a little bit of my Japanese like humility.
No, but
That's
yeah, but it actually kind of makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
it's good.
It's just like I just like, you know, I'm here to do this. If anybody cares, they can come talk to me.
do
and
you
I'll-
bow before you play?
Yeah, yeah. Fucking.
That's at the end. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
But it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's something I don't do really often. But from time to time, I like to say, "Hey, just by the way, guys, feel free to tip your waiters. They're doing an amazing job tonight, like making sure all your drinks are
Dude.
full."
That goes such a long way, because especially as someone that worked at a bar.
We worked like in restoration for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
12, 15 years
So you
each. So
get it.
yeah, we know
You
the game.
know what that's like to be on that side of the table.
Yeah.
A lot of musicians, they think that these people, like they think that those people are their servants, and it's like
Those people work their fucking asses
They work
off
their
in
fucking
stressful
asses off.
condition, in
Yeah.
shitty condition,
Yeah.
shitty schedules,
yeah.
shitty people to serve.
Yeah. You know, sometimes
Fuck.
you're dealing with like really, like, I mean, I love our tourism culture here, but sometimes you get some really entitled fucking assholes.
So, like often.
Indeed, in
Often,
fucking
you
indeed.
know?
Often.
Yeah.
Not sometimes.
No, often.
Yeah.
I would
If
say
you
more.
work in public services,
Mhm.
you lose faith in humanity so quick.
Yeah.
Because there's more shitty people than there is nice people.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks, but it's, at
Yeah.
least in my experience,
Well, I mean, that's like when it's such a turn off to see someone treat a server
Yeah.
or something with such disrespect.
dude,
I'm
he's
like,
your
ew,
waiter. He's not your bitch.
ew. Like,
But
that's
sometimes
how you-
because they think that they're your servant,
Yeah,
and it's
literally.
not that. Like
No.
some people go to school to do that job. You
It's
know.
a luxury to
Yeah.
be able to go to a restaurant
Yes.
and pay to be served.
I went
You
to
know?
school to
Yeah.
cook. I fucking studied for that. I paid money
Yeah.
to go to a really good school
But
to be able to fucking work 12 hours a day in 60
yeah.
degrees
Yeah.
for one customer to tell me,
Yeah.
yeah, the steak is not medium.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's medium. Yeah, well, when my wife makes it, she tells me it's medium, and it's not like that.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, so I have 200 people to serve.
Yeah.
You want your steak well done? Just say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
And
So
I was in the kitchen, not even a waiter. Like, it's
Yeah.
way worse to be a waiter.
Oh yes.
yes, and I see it. I see all of it. Right. There's been times at the St. Pat's where there's this one guy, and he was just getting a little too much into people's personal space, especially girls. And again, I'm not saying that I need to be down there and be like, hey, don't talk to those girls like that. like.
Hi, I'm Troy
you know,
McClure.
Yeah. Women can stick up for themselves, but sometimes,
yeah.
they're in a situation where I feel like they're being too nice because
They want to be polite.
just
they want to be
polite,
polite.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't want to cause a scene or whatever. Oh, he's drunk, and I'm like, no. So there's this one time I was playing at the Pats or whatever, and I'm playing, and I see this stuff going on, and I just stop mid song, and I was like, you, and everybody stops, and they look at, and the staff's looking at me like, what? I'm like, you fucking leave those girls alone. I'm like, you're being a fucking asshole. I'm like, if you don't be careful, you're gonna be fucking gone. And I'm like, shit, he's gonna come kick my ass, right? And I said, I've been watching you for the last fucking 45 minutes, and you're being a fucking loser.
Yeah, but the power of the
Is it-
microphone, I mean, just the fact that you speak loud, I guess it's kind of intimidating.
Well, I
no?
mean, it's like you can bark really loud, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't misuse that, but it's like, and I don't do that often because it's, again, like, it's not my job to remove somebody or
No,
make
no,
a
but
scene or whatever.
It was getting really, like,
But it's like
too
I'm like,
much, yeah.
and I'd mentioned to the staff, I'm like, keep an eye on that guy. And she goes, and one of the girls is like, oh yeah, I already had to tell him to leave those girls alone. I'm like, okay, so you know what's going on. She's like, yeah, we're watching
Yeah,
them. I was
keeping
like,
an eye on them.
but they're busy. They're doing other shit. And then
Yeah, they have, like, fucking 100 customers. to
yeah,
serve.
and I'm just like, hey, you're a fucking adult. Like, the fuck is wrong with you, you piece of shit? Like, so
Well, there you said it. He's probably just a piece of shit.
yeah. So I mean, I don't even know how I got over to there, but I've been pretty lucky because I like music is such a universal language. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
for
Quebecois
sure.
people that they make their living off of English music.
Yeah.
And that's fine or whatever. Something I do not do is that I will never play on Saint Jean Baptiste.
Yeah.
Even us.
Yeah.
Well, we play on Saint Jean now,
yeah.
but it took us very much time because at first when we started, we didn't have lots of French
We
songs.
did not have enough Quebecois songs.
I think we have like 3. Now we have a bunch,
And
but
mostly old stuff.
yeah, people that people don't very like harmonium and
Yeah,
stuff
from
like
the
that.
70s, like prog rock from the 70s.
Yeah,
in
that's the only
Quebecois.
Quebecois we
Isn't that
sing.
funny, right? It's
Not
like you do it,
anymore.
and they're like, no, not good enough. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Oh,
Like,
man.
But for me, it's like, and it's actually kind of, is it ironic? Like, I won't play on Saint Jean now, but my first gig at the Pats was with Andy on Saint Jean because they couldn't find anybody, and Thierry he recommended us, and
But I guess Andy, she's singing French, I would assume so.
I mean, a couple things, but I don't know these songs,
Mm.
right? So
Oh,
like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
like we do
yeah.
like I lost my baby, and,
Yeah.
like, and maybe a couple.
That's our first
Song
song
for the sound.
every set we do.
Oh yeah.
Not anymore, but
Okay, so most
yeah,
set,
I was just
we
tired
start
of
with
that
that
song,
song
but-
because she doesn't play tambourine,
Yeah.
so it's easier for
I
her
have
to
my
fix
hand-
on the mixer.
Okay,
other
on
the
the
songs,
first song.
I'm gonna play something else, so I need my hands.
that's good thinking,
And it's
Yes.
Quebecois.
and it's a good song.
It's a-
I love that guy. He's fucking weird.
Jean-Louis
I,
is
I
fucking
love
amazing.
I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all love that
I
song.
like I watched a couple of his videos. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, but I love his
Dude.
vibe.
Yeah,
Like,
One
yeah.
of my biggest dreams in my life is to get high with that guy. Like, just spend a night with him.
Yeah.
Just pick his brain and just sit in the corner and watch him.
yeah,
Like,
He's
let's
he's-
do mushroom and I'm gonna watch you. I don't know.
Take it away, Jean.
Yeah, it's fucking fascinating.
Yeah. So, but for me, like people, when they say to me, they're like, "Oh no, you need to make an effort to learn French. You live here, like put some effort in." It's like I'm very aware. I'm very aware of where I live and how I fit into this.
I'm fairly certain every day you're reminded that you live in Quebec.
And honestly, like I do respect it. I some of the politics and stuff they're so bizarre to me.
Oh, to us as well.
But I've never been good at politics anyway. So, I mean, but for me, like Saint Jean is that one time of the year where if anybody wants to hear Quebecois music, they should absolutely get it.
That's fair. Yeah,
and I can't do that, and I won't play any French music until I feel it. So
which is fair.
If I can learn the words, I can learn the melody, I can play it or whatever, but unless I understand what the song is,
it won't feel right.
I just feel like it's a fraud.
I understand, yeah.
And so and for me, it's like, Saint Jean is a day of celebration of the Quebecois people, and I think that if anybody should be playing that day, it should be Quebecois people. That's the day for them to make in a couple extra bucks. Like you can make good money on a day like that. So you know what? Give it to your own people. I would much rather go and fucking go from bar to bar to bar and see the different French music and experience it for myself as a bystander. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say something really controversial.
Oh.
But I think that Saint Jean, it's just a really good excuse to get fairly drunk.
I've heard some crazy. Do you guys have a crazy Saint Jean story?
Not much, because as much as I am Quebecois, and I'm not saying I'm not proud or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like we lost our identity. Like, back in the 70s when it was like a real issue and Quebec wanted to separate itself from Canada and blah, blah. And like there was a real issue from like the English speakers who were often like the upper class.
Yeah.
And the Quebecois people were like the working class.
Mm-hmm.
But today that's so not the reality.
Yeah, but like when we were younger, we used to have big parties and everything.
Hey, my first tattoo was that fleur de lis, man. I was fucking 18 years old, but...
Yeah.
But I had big parties on that day, and that was fun. But like you said, I think more that we grow up, it's like...
It's just an excuse to get drunk.
Yeah, I think... And sometimes I just don't relate that much anymore to the...
Well, you're not even Quebecois, you're Romanian.
Yeah, I'm not Quebecois.
Neither am I. So.
I'm from Romania, but I grew up here anyway. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like more that we grow up and more that I travel to, some stuff that I don't understand about the culture, and it's all right. Go and party that day. I don't feel like I belong anymore in that kind of ideal. But when I was younger, yes, we used to party. And I think it was
an excuse to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Hey, Saint Jean, let's buy mushrooms and beers and get fucked up, guys.
We're gonna go on the planes and
take
it back.
Let's get weird.
Yeah, and that's cool. But it can get a little bit bro culture, right? Where it's like, it's
kind of losing its cultural sense.
Yeah, don't embarrass yourselves upon celebrating.
Which is hard to do when you do a lot of drug and alcohol.
Yeah, if you're just gonna get all fucked up, but
you might embarrass yourself.
I love to see people celebrate their tradition.
But I think it's very nice too.
I agree.
But the only thing I don't like about sometimes the Quebecois is like you said, like it's nice. We need to keep the French and everything. But we need to accept other people too. Yeah. Being just like our little group and saying no to everybody is not going to help anything. So we need to like progress, and I think that's what I have difficulty sometimes.
I feel like some people mistake protecting our culture with closing ourselves to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Opening ourselves and showing like the artists and the art, and that's good.
Yeah.
But not just keeping into ourselves.
Yeah,
not accepting anything else that's not from your inner circle.
It's a very unique situation. It's something I've honestly, being a Canadian all my life, I've never experienced this. I never in my life would ever walk up to someone else and be like, "You're in Canada, you speak English." I would never say that to somebody.
I
But
feel like that doesn't occur outside of Quebec for the thing. Yeah.
and
Yeah, for sure.
and you know what, like that is what it is. And like we said, there's assholes everywhere, you know. And the people that come up to me and take the time, funny little side story. This is why I find it so funny here sometimes. Like I'm sitting outside of one of the places I'm playing, and I'm talking to my friend Elias. He's from France.
Elias. France, les croissants. Le pain au chocolat, les baguettes.
Bisous.
Bisous.
But I'm sitting out and I'm talking with him, right? And we're chatting, blah, blah, blah. And this guy comes walking by. It's a busy Saturday night. He comes walking by. Hey, dans le Québec, parle français. I'm like, I wasn't even fucking talking to you, man. Like, he turns around, comes back. He's like, hey, you got a problem? I'm like, well, yeah. I'm talking with my friend, and you just yell at me. And I'm like, we weren't talking to you.
That's really nice.
He's like, well, you're in Quebec. You should be speaking French. And I'm like, well, I said, I can't speak French. So he's like, where are you from? I said, I'm from Northern Ontario. He goes, Toronto. Bullshit. I'm like, no, dumb. North. And he goes, whatever. And he looks at my friend. And he goes, where are you from? He goes, I'm from France. He goes, even worse.
Wow.
He speaks the same thing.
I was like, you don't like anybody.
That's a sad dude.
So that's
sad
when
dude.
I find it gets funny. But then I realize it's a small town, man. It's a beautiful town. It's one of the most historical.
Not a small
parts.
town. It's a big village.
Un gros village.
Un gros village. Non, pas une grosse ville, un gros village.
Village.
Yeah.
Montréal, grosse ville.
Okay.
Québec, gros village.
Okay. Okay.
Oui.
So, overall, my experience here has been full of discovery. You know, and it's like I'm discovering new things about myself, about where I live, how it's different from how I grew up, and whatever else. So that's great. In those moments where I'm challenged by my, whateverness, whether it be my Englishness or my whatever, like that's okay. I mean, that's always going to be there no matter what. So how I...
At least you're not like discriminated for Japanese ancestry.
Oh fuck! Well, that
would be fun.
I said that to one guy actually one time. He said, he's like, oh, you're English, but it's okay. I'm like, well, like, how would you feel if I also told you I'm Japanese?
Wow.
But I think there is. I mean, this is like one of the oldest established parts of Canada, if not the.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of opportunity there to be the greatest, but it's gonna take some time, and I think my favorite part of Canada that I've ever been to has been like the East Coast, like the New Brunswick,
Maritime,
PEI,
Nova Scotia,
like because those people, they have a way of celebrating their culture that is so normal. Like they just, it's the weekend, we're getting out the fiddles and we're going to have a dance. Mm-hmm. And that's what people do, and they have a good time doing it. And it's not like they're doing this to like, we need to remember who we are.
No, it's because they like to do
it's
so.
It's just, that's what they've been doing, and they keep doing
That's how they have fun.
So my advice for my Quebec friends is just do what makes you happy and let people know that you enjoy doing it. And they're going to be like, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
I want to have fun too.
That's real. That's a good point.
I feel like time is kind of flying by.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try to close this thing.
But can we have a great story?
Yes. Okay. So what we like to do at the end of the episodes is have like a crunchy story, either like a really bad gig or something really fucked up happen, or like I don't know, like anything like really
crunchy,
like something that you would tell your parents and they'd be like, "No way, you're living that way, Kori."
Wow.
Something like that.
Okay.
Like the voice.
All right, I'm gonna, for the sake of legality, I'm gonna change a couple words.
Okay, we can blur. I can beep things
like
off
beep.
if you want.
Oh, that's okay. I think it'll be funnier if I just change the word.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so this one time. Oh fuck.
Seems like
I
you have to
really
do a
like
lot of
it.
mental gymnastics for this
Yeah.
one.
So, the power of music. There's this one time I went to go to this open mic in Toronto. I think I'd just gotten out of a pretty long relationship kind of thing, and it was before me and Andy started dating, so I was kind of in this middle spot or whatever, and I went to go to this open mic. It was in one of my favorite neighborhoods of Toronto called Little Italy. Very
Yep.
Italian part of town. Love Little Italy. Best food. Fucking
Pasta.
yeah. Yeah, really good stuff. And I can't even remember the name of the bar. Thank God. But I go to this bar, and there's not a lot of people in there, and you know, I knew the guy that was hosting the open mic, and he's like, "Hey, Kori, I want to play a tune, whatever." So going up there, and there's this one guy, like I don't know, like middle-aged Italian guy, seemed to be kind of a manager or something of the place. He's like, "Hey, man, I'll buy you a shot, whatever you want. Can you play me a Johnny Cash tune?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Give me a tequila. I love tequila." So
Yeah, I kind of got that. That's 2 hours.
I'll take a tequila. He comes back two tequilas. Okay, right, here you go, buddy. Here's a Ring of Fire. Play it, Ring of Fire. And he's just like, at the end of the song, he's just like, laughing. That was great. Good stuff. He's like, okay. He's like, after you're done, come to the back patio by the fireplace or whatever. I was like, okay. I'm like, you got a fireplace on the back patio in downtown Toronto? Like, where the fuck am I? So sure enough, I go to the back, go through the kitchen, go in the back, and there's like a nice like patio terrace back there, and there's a fucking fire going. I'm like, holy shit!
I'm getting like Godfather's vibe right now. Just saying.
And you ever seen Scarface?
Yeah. Goodfellas. Yeah.
So sitting back there,
Did someone get whacked at your show?
this guy sitting by the fire, he's like, "You want some wine?" I'm like, "I would love some wine." So, boom, 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 boom. Here's another shot, tequila. He's like, "Play me another Johnny Cash tune." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you got it." I'm like, "Well, around the fire. Here's Ring of Fire. Play Ring of Fire." He's like, I love it. Right on. He's like, "Come with me down to my office." I was like, "Okay."
It's getting shadier.
I know this move. So I'm like, okay. So going to the office, and he's got this safe, big metal safe down there, right? And he goes, "Have you ever seen a brick of sugar?"
Wow.
I
Like a pound?
he's opening up. You ever seen a brick of sugar? And I'm like, no, I've never seen a brick of sugar.
But I'm no diabetic,
Yeah.
so please do.
So he takes out this brick of sugar.
Sugar, of course, yeah.
And throws it at me. I'm like, holy fuck. He's like, "Have you ever seen two?" And pulls out. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. And he's like, "All right, give it back." And so he's getting back. He's like, and then he pulls a machete out of the safe. Right? Big knife. And he puts one of these bricks of sugar on the floor. Whack! Boom! Sugar everywhere. He goes, "Here's some sugar for you." Thanks. Fuck. So we decided to make some tea and put
Got a
some,
sugar high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and eventually like I don't know, the hours are going by and go to this other room, and there's this big fucking glass table, and he pours sugar all over the table, and from one corner of the table to the other corner there was this sugar that people could help themselves to put in their coffee.
Wow.
I was drinking coffee for 2 days.
And I guess you didn't eat much.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, caffeine
Caffeine
Yeah.
mostly
It-
sugar.
it kind of stunts the hunger.
It does.
So, I mean, that was one of the most bizarre things I had ever encountered, and I never saw that guy. I think that bar was shut down.
I mean, probably.
Next
Or
day.
they,
No.
or
Yeah,
they
like,
moved to
honestly,
another like.
It was
Yeah.
it was gone, and that was a bit nuts.
It
Like,
sounds like a Scorsese movie.
yeah. So in
Wow.
terms of just like raunchy and weird and things all happening at the same time, that one
Yeah,
will
okay.
always stand out. I mean,
Polite applause.
That was a good one.
yeah, it was that was something else.
Man, sorry for all the diabetics that follow us.
Yeah.
It was not a sugar-free story.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. That
So,
was, that was bizarre. That was really
that won't
bizarre.
work.
I think, but now I'm gonna say on that, with that story there, like, don't ever let the truth ruin a good story. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that at that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not.
Maybe. Who knows?
But I do have one story that is really true, and it's probably one of my most favorite stories.
Okay, go
And it's,
ahead.
yeah. So this one time I went to go play this gig in Barrie, Ontario. So this was about a 2.5 hour drive from where I was living at the time.
Okay.
And there was severe snowstorm warnings. And I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, I gotta go. And it's like a Wednesday night or whatever, right? So I show up. I get in Barrie. And as I'm getting there, like, snow is coming down hard. And I remember pulling into town. And at one point, like, I'm at a stoplight. And there's, like, a hill. And someone's, like, trying to stop coming down the hill. And they fucking run into another car. And I'm like, okay. Turn the corner. And I unload. I get in the bar. And bartender's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm supposed to play here tonight. And she's like, I can't believe you showed up. She's like, it's supposed to get really bad tonight. And I was like, I know, but
they told
I
me
need
to be here.
I need money,
I
man.
need money. I need money, and I'm here. And I'm like, and she's like, okay, well, I'm like, well, maybe I'll play, and maybe people will come in and I'll be here. And she's like, okay, if you want or whatever. And like, she says, if you play, I'll pay you, but like, it's gonna get fucking bad out there. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm sitting in the bar, and I'm playing to nobody, and it's fucking snowing. I'm right by the window. I'm like playing, and I'm looking out. I'm like, oh my god, it is just coming.
No one's gonna go.
Coming down.
Yeah.
And then this woman comes in the bar, and I can't remember her name right now. This is a while ago. I have it written down somewhere. And she's talking to the bartender or whatever I'm playing. She's like, she's looking at me like, she's like, hey, buddy. I'm like, hey, wait, what's up? She goes, what the fuck are you doing here, man? I was like,
Geez,
I
thanks.
was like, well, I gotta play. I gotta, And she's like, what? She's like, where are you driving from? I'm like, I'm driving from Oshawa. She goes, oh fuck, man. She's like, you gotta go now. Like, it's gonna get really bad out there. And I was like, well, I can't. I need to make my money.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Need to eat, man.
Need to eat, bro.
And I said, I'm here. Like, I'm gonna play or whatever. She goes, how much longer you gotta play? I said, I got another 2 sets or whatever.
2 hours.
Yeah. And she's like, fuck, man. So I go outside and I go out for a smoke or whatever and come back in. She goes, how much are you getting paid tonight? I said, $250. She goes, all right. She goes to the ATM. She pulls out $250.
No way.
She's like, get your
the
ass
fuck out.
back home now. And I'm like,
Wow.
what the fuck? I'm like, no, I can't accept that. Like, that's crazy. And she's like, no. She's like, take this, get on the road, get home, go home. And I'm like, wow. So I talked to the bartender. I'm like, and she's watching all this go down. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, she's done that before, whatever. Whatever. And I'm like, holy fuck, right? So I'm like, okay, all right. I'm like, well, hey, thank you so much. I'm like, if I ever come back here again and you're around, like, next drink's on me, kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Thank you so much.
You want to pay it back.
Yeah, so I'm like, fuck. So I'm packing up my stuff or whatever, right? And I'm going out to my car and I pack everything up, and this sounds so fucked, like so phony, but it's not. I still have this somewhere, but I'm getting ready to go in the car, and I look in the snow, and there's this pendant in the snow, a little like cheap pendant, and it's got an angel on it.
Okay.
And it's I can't remember what I have it somewhere here, and it on the back it says like the angel of daughters or something like that, or whatever, like, and I'm like, oh, like fuck, like this woman, she was my angel that night, and then I just and it, like out of all this snow falling on the ground, and like right by my door, right by my feet, there's this like
little wow,
holy shit. And so yeah, I made it home. I never played that bar ever again.
Really?
I never saw that woman ever again.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, but I have the memory of it, and I still have that little pendant.
Oh, really?
Somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm actually amazed about the amount of good people
that you
come
met.
across.
But I think because you have that vibe too.
Yeah,
like you have a kindness, like you can feel it.
Nice people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are good examples of nice people, so
we can be sometimes.
I wouldn't call myself that.
I mean, you know
Depends
what?
today.
Yeah, it's the I think, you know, and again it sounds corny as fuck, but I think the only thing that people are really truly like capable of or really good at is just taking the extra 5 seconds to be like, okay, what's the right decision here? Like, you know, you can't help everybody all the time. I'm not a fucking philanthropist or whatever.
No,
like
that's some appointment.
But like, it's like, okay, like, can I make that person's day just like a little bit better?
Yeah, with
by
like
my actions
little
right
to no effort.
You know,
usually, yeah.
You know, like I might not give that guy a fucking $1, but I might give that guy a cigarette. Like, you know, pick and choose. You know, and I think that the only thing worth doing is just try and be a little bit more fucking nice.
Just try to be a nice person.
Just try.
I mean,
that's it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, what else really fucking matters? I mean,
not much.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's it.
And those good words. Wow.
But before the end, I just wanted to know, like, where can we follow you guys, and what is your what is your project?
Oh yeah.
So you do chansonnier by yourself, Kori the chansonnier.
And we can put all in the links if you want to.
Yeah. Give us all your links.
Okay.
I'll text you later.
So we can put it on. You can follow him
in the description. All the links where you can follow.
Sure. Yeah. So for I mean, I guess the best place for me, really, where I'm ever going to post anything about my own music or whatever, is just on my Instagram. So Kori Kameda.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working with a few different things. Like I do my chansonnier thing around here a lot. I don't usually advertise it, but you can find me.
Will do.
Yeah, I find like I'm at the St. Pat's a lot. I'm at the London a lot. I play at the Murphys every now and then. Available for bar mitzvahs, funerals, and birthday parties.
He does quinceañera as well.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, I can be your janitor for your burlesque shows.
Wow.
He doesn't mind to mop.
I can change a tire. but and then I have the big shiny show, which
that's
is
so nice.
Hey, you have a poster right beside. I want to. Yeah, I spotted it.
As a matter of fact. Yeah, that was from our first show. It's a cover band based on the aesthetic of Big Shiny Tunes.
Come on, Big Shiny Tunes.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I want to come and see you guys for real.
You even had the logo from MTV on the top. And that's amazing.
That's right.
The details.
Yeah. So there's that. For myself, for my own music, I go by the title of Volume Academy.
You guys give I think diploma. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right. If you want to hear my own music, you have to message me. It's not on iTunes or Spotify or anything.
Oh, okay.
What you do is you say, I would like to hear your music. and then I say, okay, give me your email, and then what I do is I write a letter.
That's nice.
And it usually takes me about 45 minutes to write a letter. It's not like a template or anything. I write it from scratch.
Shit, okay.
So if I was to send it to you, you would.
I might text you tomorrow.
If you want one, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
You'll
sure.
see. But I write a letter to the person, and at the end of the letter, I put a link to a Google Drive where you can hear my music, and I just look at it as like a way to connect with people, instead of just saying like link in bio.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of that. We talked before about like being creative with how you release music and stuff. And so that was kind of a next step for me, because no one has CDs anymore, so I can't go to the fucking dollar store and buy CDs. So I like to do this very one-on-one personal
That's very nice.
thing.
It's really cool, yeah.
So if you want to hear my own personal music, I have a folder. I think there's 2 records on there, a couple other folders of some singles and stuff like that, I'm gonna work a little bit more on kind of sharing other projects I'm involved in that I've produced or mixed or whatever, and that's about it.
Well, thank you so much. It was very good podcast.
Thanks. Yes, and it was a really good supper. It was nice.
Thank you so much.
The slow cooked sausage was on spot.
Formidable.
Formidable.